Okay, let's give this a go. See if we're up and running yet. Hopefully, I've got everything set up, and we'll start viewing in a minute. I'm about 5 minutes early, so just waiting for somebody to come on just to check me sound, make sure everything's working. Somebody's on. So, hi. Can anybody hear me on the microphone? Is the microphone working okay? The sound is okay, and the vision is okay. All good, Les. Hope you're doing good. Yes, I am, Christopher. Thanks very much. Good to hear that actually my voice is working, because I've tried a new microphone and it's been a bit of a pain. Yesterday I spent a couple of hours trying to sort things out and get it to work. As I'm not a technophobe, so yeah, I had one or two little problems with it, but as long as people can hear me, that's the main thing. Picture okay? Picture okay? Yeah. Yes, everything working good. Fantastic. I would say I'm a little bit early, about another 4 minutes before we start talking. I got me retired and living the dream mug. Last time I did the live stream, went on for just over 3.5 hours, or just nearly 3.5 hours, and I lost my voice the other day. So I'm armed with coffee and some bottles of water. See if it goes for 3 hours or so today. I don't know. But we've got an awful lot to go through. Thanks very much for those people who have given me the questions pre this live stream. And I've had other people putting questions to me. And that's why I did another live stream. I usually do one live stream a month, but this time this is the second one in a month, because there's so many questions that people want to know. So we've got 13 viewers already. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for everybody joining. Picture good. Huggy Bear. Oh, yes, we've got you, Huggy Bear. And I'm going to answer your question. And I've got the answers for you, or some potential answers anyway. Mike Jones from the south of Wales. Yaki da. So Sunday morning what's it like, the weather in Wales this morning? Hopefully it's now you're getting towards springtime, the weather should be feeling a lot better. Dean Fisher, morning Dean. Afternoon from sunny Thailand. Thankfully the rainy season's, well, who would say an English guy say thankful that the rainy season's here. The rainy season's here, which is lovely, because it means that the whole air has cooled down now. As I say today, although it's beautiful skies, and you can hear a plane in the background, and that's a parachute plane. There's a parachuting school not too far away from us, so they've been working overtime, because this morning it was very cloudy, overcast, bit of thunder and lightning this morning, 6 o'clock, and then this afternoon the sun's come out. And it's beautiful, but it's still warm, but it's nice. It's lovely. Thank you for the thumbs up for everybody who's given me the thumbs up. Very sunny in Cornwall right now. I had some very good memories in Cornwall. I like Cornwall. Sunny in Bognor Regis. Bognor Regis, yeah. I went to the Butlins holiday camp in Bognor Regis. I actually liked it, the Butlins holiday camp. It really, really was good in my caravanning days. Right. Hi, Les. Hope you're doing well, and thanks for all your assistance, Montana. I'm glad that I can be of assistance. That's the whole idea of me doing my YouTube channel, because I tell it how it is. I don't fluff it up. Fluff it up? No, that's not the right word for it. I do not BS it. I tell it how it is. People ask any questions. There's always a workaround for everything, and I'm going to come on to that a little bit as I say, now we're on 3 o'clock where people have started to come on because they're certainly going to start at 3 o'clock. So with regard to, we're going to talk about visas, we're going to talk about insurance. I've got a lot to say about both the things. A lot has happened this week with regard to them. I'm going to recommend a couple of other YouTubers' videos for you to see, sort of to get it from the horse's mouth, the information that there. I don't watch many other YouTubers, but I scan through, and if the thumbnail comes up and I think, oh, that's interesting, I'll have a look at their channel. As you can imagine, I've got my own channel. I've got my own. I don't copy anybody, and I don't think anybody copies me. I'm sort of a bit of a unique channel with the information that I give. I don't give anything about how nice the pizzas are in various places. So, information channel, I would say my channel is more than traveling around and pizzas and food, and certainly Patty, I've been there, seen it, done it, got the t-shirt, now I've recovered and I live, I think, a better lifestyle than what I did in Pattaya. But for those who like Pattaya, there's plenty of other people that do the YouTube blogs. Hi mate, first time I'm having a good time, son, to watch you. I live in Australia, but I'm in Singapore right now. Australia, loved Australia. I did Australia on my round the world trip. 3 months in Australia, 2 months in a month in a juicy van. That's basically a car with a mattress in it, and just spent up the Gold Coast, going up to Cairns. Loved it. 3 months in a van in New Zealand, and then 1 month in a van in Australia. Fantastic holiday. Sydney, Australia. Sydney. I was in Sydney for just over a month. Loved it. Most expensive place I stayed in the world was Sydney, but absolutely loved it. So here we go. Shall we start? We'll start with some of the questions that I had before. What I'm going to do, hopefully, is go through some of the questions that I've got in there, and if anybody's got any questions, to leave it in the comments. Put a Q, big Q, and then that says it's a question, because some people talk to each other on the chat here anyway. So if it's got a question, but I'm going to give a chance for people to hop in and ask a question once I've sorted this question out. And the first question, and it's from an English couple, Soup Dragon. They sent me a message saying, is it best to rent a house or buy a condo as a foreigner? And both the people are British. Now, what I would say, that there's a guy called Tony and Lisa. They live down in Phuket region, and they are an English couple who built their own house in Thailand. So have a look at their channel, Bad Badger in Thailand, Tony and Lisa, and get on to him, and he'll tell you exactly how he goes about and why he bought the land and how he's bought the land and built his house here in Thailand. But I would say, if you want to settle here, there's ways and means of getting around the system as far as owning land. It's not technically yours, and it never ever will be, but you can lease the land for 30 years and the owner can't sell it. But by doing that, Tony is probably the best guy that you could talk to. Either that or a lawyer. If you talk to a lawyer, there's ways and means you can do it. Now, people say you can buy it through a company, but if you buy it through a company, it's sort of technically illegal because you're skirting the system. So I would say, and I'm a true staunch advocate, you do everything legal in Thailand, because I don't do anything illegal. Everything that I do and say, suggest, is totally legal, 100%, because I love living in Thailand. I don't want anybody come and knock on my door and say, hey, what are you saying this for? What are you saying that for? Everything that I suggest, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a legal person. I don't run anything with regard to an office. It's my guidance and assistance, and I know everything that works because other people are doing it. So take the information that I give and compare it with what other people say, and then make your own mind up at the end of the day. So that's buying a house in Thailand. A condo. Now, a condo is a different thing, but even a condo comes with a little bit of a caveat, because a condo you can have actually in your own name, and it belongs to you 100%, and you can sell it, you can do things like that. But the sting in the tail, and I know a couple of people that this has happened to, is that when you buy a condo, let's say for ease of doing the maths, if there's 100 condos in a particular building, 51% of them condos have to belong to Thai people and 49% to foreigners. So if for some reason it's 50-50, somebody's made a mistake and it's 50% foreigners, 50% Thai, you cannot sell your condo to another foreigner. You'd have to sell it to a Thai person because the balance is wrong. There's a lot of people fallen foul of this little law with regard to buying a condo. It's the fact that it has to be 51 to 49% ownership set out with the 100 condos. So check how many foreigners own in the condos and how many Thai people are in the condos, because what you don't want to be stuck is with a condo that you can't sell if you want to sell it for any reason. But these are the things that you need to look at. And I would say also go and get a lawyer for 100%, so that you know you're paddling the right way. Use a lawyer. Anything to do with investments and money and that, go and get it checked out. So that's the first question with regard to buying a house or buying a condo, and that was from Soup Dragon. So contact Bad Badger in Thailand, Tony and Lisa, and he'll tell you he's a nice guy. Subscribe to his channel. Again, he's another guy who's lived in Thailand for a long time, and he's a very good guy, very knowledgeable down in Phuket area. So going on to questions on the live streams. Anybody got any questions? Let's have a little look. Good morning from a sunny Durham. I love Durham. I did my fire brigade training at Frammelgate Moor, Durham, and we visited the Salutation pub in Frammelgate Moor. That was our nightly calm down type thing. And a few beers in Frammelgate Moor, 1980 for 12 weeks. Very fond memories of Durham. Love Durham. And it helps people coming to Thailand for the first time. Yeah. As I said, I was a first-time visitor to Thailand, and I tell a lie. A friend of mine who's been coming here for years, he helped me out. He kept me on the straight and narrow when I first came here as a holiday maker. But living here and a holiday maker is two different lifestyles. So I sort of splodged and worked around myself. I had another guy who lived in Pattaya. I lived in Pattaya, Jomtien for 2 years, and I sort of didn't like it. So I knew I was going to have to look for somewhere else. So I like the idea of traveling around Thailand. So I traveled around Thailand and ended up here in Rayong. So question from what I understand, you retired as a fireman in England and settled in Thailand. Was it difficult for you to adjust to the different pace of life? I took to it like a duck to water. Now, the thing is, when I joined the fire brigade at 19, the interviewing guy said to me, you work 2 days, 2 nights, you have 4 days off every week, and you can retire at 50-year-old. He said, who doesn't want to be a fireman? But a 19-year-old, a 50-year-old is way, way in the distance. So I never, ever thought about retiring at 50. I just thought, yeah, okay. And it just went over my head. The seriousness and the advantage of it, of being able to retire at 50, it never entered my mind because I was only 19 years old. And I was on strike with the steelworks for 13 weeks. And I got offered the job in the fire brigade. And I was just happy just to get back into work again and earning some money. So, but when it came to 42, and I went through a big divorce at 42-year-old, and that's when I went through my worst period in my life with bankruptcy and losing the houses, losing the wife. It certainly opened my eyes when I came to Thailand in 2002. So my big picture from 42 to 50 was, okay, I'm going to retire at 50 because I want to travel the world. I don't want to work anymore, and I've got my pension. I'm fortunate that I joined the right queue at the right time, at the right age, and now I reap the rewards of what I paid into the system, because I paid into the system. So now I'm taking out the system. But adapting to it, I spent 2 years traveling around the world. I was going to live in France. So my different views of where I was going to live, I fancied living in New Zealand. I like Vietnam. I like Vietnam that much. In fact, it nearly became my first on Vietnam, but Thailand won by a whisker, and I like Thailand. So it took some getting used to, and even now I'm still learning. You learn something every day in Thailand. Face is a big thing. Me, me and the wife have had a few arguments with regard to face and how I view things and how she views things. We've been together 7 years now in July, so we're a good partnership. We enjoy each other's company, and we get on like a house on fire really, really well. I'm really, really happy with my wife. I'm really, really happy with the standard of life that this gives me living over here in Thailand. So that was a bit of a long-winded argument, a long-winded answer to as far as adapting from the fire service to this. Yes, I love it is the answer. I would suggest anybody retire as soon as you can, when you can, and do whatever you can, because everybody knows how much money you've got, but nobody knows how much time they've got. A friend of mine who I work with in the fire brigade, he was as fit as a butcher's dog, really nice guy, and I found out last week that he'd had a heart attack, and he got took into hospital, and he had 3 stents, and unfortunately, and he's younger than me. He's probably 60. I'm 62. He's probably about 60. And following the 3 stents, he got sent home, and then he had a stroke. So now he's back in hospital with a stroke. So you never know in this life when something's going to knock on the door and interrupt all your plans. So do what you can while you can, when you can. That's my advice. So going on from that to a second question, and Huggy Bear, he's already in the room. So yes, this is your question. Looking at visiting Thailand for 6 months per year, is a retirement visa the best option? Can you leave and come back? How do you do your 90-day reporting when not in the country? Okay. Now 6 months is sort of a bit of a funny spot. 6 months in Thailand. I would say yes. If you get a year's retirement visa, if you're obviously over 50, you get a year's retirement visa, then it gives you more options. But then you'd have to tie money up 800,000 in a Thai bank account, or you would have to deposit 65,000 baht into a Thai bank account every month to enable you to get the retirement visa. Now you can actually get a 90-day tourist visa, but you're only allowed to stay in the country for 60 days. And that's a multiple entry, so you come and go all the time. So 60 days, and then you can apply for a 30-day extension, which gives you your 90 days. Now you apply for that at the embassies, at the Thai embassy. Now it's quite easy to do, but this is sort of one option that you can do it. Another option is to get a tourist visa 30 days, extend it for 30 days, and then you can do a border run, which gives you another 15 days. So that's 75 days that you could get. And then you'd have to leave the country and then come back and start it all over again. So 6 months is sort of it's a bit of a difficult one, because you can jump one way or jump the other way. But I would say, unless you want to commit and put 800,000 into a Thai bank account, do the 90-day, apply for the 90-day tourist visa with a multiple entry. Now, the multiple entry, both on the retirement visa and the tourist visa, means you can come and go as many times as you want. Or you can get a single entry visa, which you only go once and you come back. So the multi-entry, if you're going to go in and out, if you're going to do more than 3 trips a year, it's worthwhile buying the multi-entry. Otherwise, just buy the single entry. Now, I've heard contradictory in terms that it was 1,000, it's gone up to 2,000, and it was 4,000, it's gone up to 6,000. Now, my friend's just gone back to England on a single entry re-entry visa, and it cost him 1,000 baht. Somebody else told me it cost them 2,000 baht, and he only went last week. So, and he only paid £1,000 for his single re-entry. So I hope that explains it. Huggy Bear. I would say contact the embassy. The embassy will give you the exact information that you want and how you can do it. But the retirement visa, unless you're coming over here, I wouldn't use a retirement visa just for coming for 6 months, because the stipulations and tying your money up, it's a lot more hoops to jump through than doing the either the 60-day visa or the 90-day visa. But remember, 60 days and you have to leave the country, even though it's a well, you don't have to leave, you can extend for another 30 days. But the visas at the minute are changing, and I'm going to come on to that in a minute with regard to Thailand is tightening up everything over here at the minute. So that's that. So I'll take another question from people on the live stream if somebody's got a question, right? Question. My wife and I are looking to move the early next year, and my wife wants to know, are there many expats clubs to meet and greet for retired couples? Yes. Well, yes, there is. There's always expats everywhere. But as far as expats couples are concerned, there's not so many couples. So I know a lady that lived here on her own. She lived here for 5 years, and she was bored because she had no other foreign ladies to talk to, if you like. And her company was us and our groups that we went, but it was all involved with Thai people. And there's only one other couple that lived near her that she eventually didn't get on with. The sort of, well, got to dislike each other. But there are expats clubs and groups of people, but you just have to sort of get used to being with Thai couples, or a guy with a wife that's Thai. But I know and understand that can also be difficult, because basically when we go out in a group of people, all the Thai ladies sit at one end of the table, and all the English, Americans, and Germans, and whatever groups you're in sit at the other table. So the Thai girls have their conversation. Now you can't join in their conversation because you can't understand Thai. So as far as a couple's concerned, it is more difficult. And as I say, but the person to ask for things like that, because he does it, Tony and Lisa, Bad Badger in Thailand, ask him, and he'll let you know as far as groups and that's what they do as a couple with regard to how they live and socialize and mix with other groups. But certainly here, there's I must know about 50 or 60 people, and there's only one couple where they're both English. Everybody else has got a Thai partner. So yeah, that's a difficult one as far as mixing with the Americans or the English or wherever country they come from. Certainly for the women, to find somebody so they can chit chat to is very difficult. But again, that's being truthful. You will find it difficult as a woman to find another woman to sit and talk to and pass the day. All right, let's have a look. Yeah, the salutation. Yeah, it's still there. Oh, I met my girlfriend in the salutation whilst I was training as a firefighter. She was a very nice girl. Blah, blah, blah. Re-entry permits outside 1,000. Okay, right. Well, just last week I got told that the single re-entry had gone up to 2,000 and the multi-entry had gone up to 6,000, whereas before it used to be 1,000 and 4,000. That's what I'm saying. Everything's changing. So, okay, whilst there's nobody asked the question here, now I'm going to go on to why I think Thailand are making everything so much more difficult with regard to bank accounts and visas and agents and things like that. And not wanting to say who really has caused this problem, but it doesn't take much to find out how many extra people are coming over to live here in Thailand. and I'm not blaming the Ruskies for all of this lot, but there's a sudden influx of Russian people here, and they all like Phuket. And but this is my own thoughts. But reading between the lines and reading what's happening in various places, there's a lot of trouble going on in Phuket at the minute. And bearing in mind that the Russian people are trying to take their money out of Russia because it's going to be frozen in the banks and blah, 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 blah. This is what I think is the reason why on a tourist visa you cannot open up a bank account now. I might be totally and utterly wrong, but I think it's certainly got something to do with it. The Thai government and immigration authorities are cracking down on visas, and it's all to do with the Phuket area because there are so many people sort of overstaying and flouting the laws and things like that. So as they're cracking down on one demographic group of people, well, it's actually the Russians and the Chinese, and it's not just me saying it. There are a few other bloggers saying it as well. Tim Newton has also said, because he does a very, very good news program every day, Monday to Friday, TNT, Tim Newton in Thailand. And he mentioned about all the things that are going on in Phuket with the Russians opening gift shops, opening their own taxis, opening their own offices. They're sort of flouting the law, if you like, going over and above and standing on people's toes. Now, that has effect for everybody else, because if the Thai government have to crack down on that, they cast a big net, and anybody they catch is going to be involved with it as well. So I believe that certainly for the next 1 or 2 years, things are going to get much tighter here with regard to visas and opening bank accounts and things like that, because the prices of property have shot up in Phuket, almost doubled in some places, because the Russians are buying properties for long stay. And I've asked this question many times and nobody's come up with a good enough answer that satisfies me, is that how difficult it is for people to get visas, but the Russians seem to stay here as long as they want. And there's no real answers as to how they're doing it, because they can't get a retirement visa for all of those people that are under 50 years old. You can get education visas, you can get voluntary visas, things like that, but that comes at a cost. The elite visa, it is 600,000 baht, which is what, 15,000 pounds or something. So whatever that is in rubles, and anybody under the age of 50 can get an elite visa. Well, that costs a lot of money, but that lasts for 5 years. Do you think everybody, all the Russians, are buying elite visas so they can bring the family? So it's causing a problem. This is the short answer to it. I think the situation, what's happening now, is causing a big problem. And it'll cause a big problem for everybody in Thailand over the next year or two. We've just started seeing the tip of the iceberg, and I think everything is going to get much, much stricter with regard to agents and things like that, because they're doing more scrutinizing of those people who said they've got the money in the bank by using an agent and things like that. Okay. So, but that's my own personal opinion. But I've lived here for 10 years and everything's been running sweetly until this situation's happened over a year ago. And you can just see things changing. There's a guy that I found in my house up here. He's left Phuket because loads of Russian people, drunk, loud-mouthed, and foul-mouthed, and very abrupt in the neighbourhood where he was living. So he's left there because of the Russians. Now, I've met some very nice Russian people and I've met some horrible Russian people. There's good and bad, so I'm not tarring everybody with the same brush. All I'm saying is that at the minute, it's the Ruskies that's causing problems in Thailand for everything. Huggy Bear, thanks very much. Hope it was helpful, yeah. I'm retiring Jennifer, I'm retiring to Thailand with my son and his wife, who is Thai, looking for medical insurance for a 75-year-old. Some companies do not insure over 75. Well, I think insurance. Okay, we'll come on to the insurance one. Now, this is a big subject, the insurance one, because I've done some investigation. My insurance is due on the 1st of June, and I've had a couple of people send in emails to me on some horror stories with regard to insurance. Now, insurance is only good if it pays out when you want it to pay out, and everybody will sing its praises. For insurance, if it doesn't pay out, there's a reason for it doesn't pay out, and a lot of that to do is not telling the truth and things like that. But I will go on from that, and I'll give you a couple of examples. And I spent an hour talking to the insurance guy yesterday it was, yeah, with my insurance, because some people, because I'm only insured for 700,000 baht, and many people have said, oh, you know, I'm insured for 3 million, 700,000, you'll get no cover whatsoever. So I asked the question, and I used an example. There was one of my subscribers that I met here, Johnny was called, and ironically, a week after, it's very gassy now. Ironically, a week after his insurance ran out, he extended his stay in Thailand and he had a heart attack. And he ended up getting 3 stents put into his heart. And he did that through the public hospital because he had no medical insurance, because his medical insurance ran out the week before. So that cost him 385,000 baht to get that operation done. So I use this as an example to my insurance agent, because looking through although it says 700,000 baht insurance cover, somebody else pointed, yeah, but there's a certain percentage of this, there's a certain percentage for that, certain percentage for the other. So I mean, there's lots of things that can go wrong with you as far as medical. So let's use So I said, let's use a heart attack as an example. So I said to this guy on the phone, I said, okay, if I have a heart attack, it says on there, a non-scheduled operation, 80,000 baht. I said, what does that mean? I said, does that mean to say that if I needed some stents put in my heart, and let's use this guy's example, 385,000, so you would only pay up? Oh, no. He said, we look at various scenarios and we look at various things. And he said, so I said, I want to know. I said, you know all my medical distance. I said, I've had insurance for you for 10 years. Will you pay for stents to be put into my? Oh, well, there's all sorts of things. I said, no, I want a yes or no answer. And what this 80,000? He said, well, it's more complicated than that. He said, I can't give you a yes or no answer. But he said, I would say, be assured that you would be covered. And because he couldn't give me a yes or no answer, that just put doubt in my mind. And I'm not 100% sure. So because I'm not 100% sure, I'm going to arrange an appointment and go and see a guy that deals with Pacific Cross Insurance. And I'm going to ask him all of these questions. And I'm going to do that in the next couple of weeks. And I'll come back and I'll do another video with regard to the insurance, because there are so many people saying, oh, you're not insured for this, you're not insured for that. And I'll give you another example. This American guy that I know had a motorcycle accident a few weeks ago. And he had 2 toes amputated. He's got no medical insurance, nothing. And the information he gives me is a little bit sketchy, and I don't know 100%, but in a nutshell, he didn't pay for anything. Even though he was in hospital for a week, he had the operation, he had his 2 toes amputated. As far as I can gather, he hasn't paid anything. So how's that happened? His Thai girlfriend came, she said, oh, you come out of hospital now, everything's paid for, everything's sorted, don't worry about it. And he said, I'm not going to rock the boat and ask why I don't have to pay. He said, I don't really know why I don't have to pay. But he said, I've had the operation. He said, I get a new dressing put on every day. But he said, I don't know why I haven't paid. And he's got no medical insurance whatsoever. So who knows? But he's an American guy. I don't know whether it's linked with the American health system. I don't know. So insurance over here is very, very up in the air. And I'm going to come on to a little bit further from this. And I'm going to suggest another person to watch. Well, two people as far as insurance is concerned. And would you think that, one, this is a good idea, that this guy went for a full medical, he spent 20,000 baht, and he had a CT scan of his upper body type of thing. He had all the bloods taken. He spent virtually all day, and he got all that information. So now he's better prepared. But if he applies for medical insurance now, they'll say to him, have you ever been for any tests? And if of course, he's been to say a test, so he's go through a test. Now that can be used against you. Go and watch this video, and it's from a guy called Thailand Bound, and the video is called Health Insurance in Thailand: Why I Decided Not to Have a Policy. Now, Thailand Bound, the guy, is just moved over here from England, and because of the trouble with insurances and things like that, he decided, and he went for a 5,000 baht checkup type of thing, get his bloods and things like that. He's a little bit overweight, and his triglyceride, well, you know what I'm trying to say, was a little bit high. So when he was filling the forms out, and he went over this free, and again, watch his video because it's straight from the horse's mouth. Long story short, he went over this process for a year. And because he went for that, they put his insurance premium up and says, oh, well, you know, we won't cover you for this, and we won't cover you for that, and we won't cover you for this because you've gone for this test. He did the test for his own peace of mind, but they've used, because he went for a test, against him. So who knows? But anyway, Thailand Bound, and the video is Health Insurance in Thailand: Why I Decided Not to Have a Policy. And the second one, and this is from Greeny Travels, and he's just gone back to America for a full medical. He's been over here now for a couple of years, Greeny, and he did an interview with this guy, another American guy, who did the 20,000 baht test, and he said much more than what his American doctor had given him back in America. And he felt that he got let down by going back to America for a full medical, when in Thailand for 20,000 baht, he got reams and reams and reams of paper, and to sit down with the doctor to go through everything as to you know, what the results were. So Greeny Travels, Thailand versus the West. I felt cheated, was leaving Thailand for a medical, a mistake. So have a look at that. So I felt cheated, was leaving Thailand for a medical, a mistake. Two very, very good explanations without me going into their videos about the good and the bad things about having a medical over here. Because if you go for insurance, and if you've been for these tests, it can be used against you, pre-existing conditions and things like that. Now, I've been diagnosed with emphysema. When I went back to England, I sort of had a suspected heart attack, and I got taken to hospital, and they did a CT scan of everything. So I've had all of them tests done, and thankfully my heart and my lungs and everything else was okay. But they diagnosed me with emphysema. But because I've already got my Thai health insurance, I don't have to inform them of that. And anything to do with emphysema now or lung problem is covered by my insurance, because it wasn't a pre-existing condition. And okay, emphysema, I've had emphysema for a long time, but it was only diagnosed when I went back to England. And I've had insurance policy now for over 10 years. So swings and roundabouts. So insurance is a tricky subject over here. I don't think there's a right answer and a wrong answer. You've just got to make your own mind up. But to your answer for a 75-year-old, I would say you're better off self-insuring if you have 800,000 baht in the bank, that will cover anything with regard to anything that's necessary for operations and things like that. It's not a massive amount of money, but I think it's enough money to warrant you leaving in the bank, because trying to get insurance for a 75-year-old is going to be very, very, very expensive. And some insurance companies won't take anybody that was over 70 years old before they applied. Some other insurance companies will ask you to go for a medical before they insure you. But the premiums are going to be very, very, very expensive, sadly. Sorry to say, but nobody wants old people, because old people cause problems. But I'm getting old myself, I know. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I heard 5-year elite visa is being ended. No, the 5-year elite visa is still on, but it's you can get a tag onto that so that elite visa you can bring all your family with you. And again, that's to do with the Ruskies, because one person will get the elite visa and think, oh, okay, I can bring my whole family now. So I think it's 4 or 5 family members you can bring across on that visa. So if you've got 5 people and they all chip in towards this elite visa, then it's actually works out quite reasonable. But if it's just one person, 15,000 pounds, it's a lot of money. But times that by 5 people for 5 years, it works out quite if you can bring your family. And it's that part of the elite visa that they're looking into scrapping. Question. So if my wife and I meet the retirement criteria, will we have problems opening a bank account, as I will be doing the applications for the bank and also the retirement visa? Yes and no. It's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. To get a bank account, you need a visa. To get a visa, you need a bank account. But there are agents out there who will wave their magic wand and everything will be taken care of. And now you can open up a bank account, even with a tourist visa, anywhere from 3,500 up to 5,000 baht. And there's lots of people doing this now, because you can go around 10 banks and 10 banks will say, no, 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 no. So is it worth all that hassle for the sake of going to a visa agent who will be able to do it, and it'll be open and everything done for you within 24 hours? So I would say, I'm not a fan of visa. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of visa agents. I think a lot of work can be done by the people themselves, but agents do have their uses. And when all's said and done, a visa agent waves his magic wand and hocus pocus and everything can be done. And it's for those people who don't like paperwork and things like that. Agents have their uses. Now, there's a lot of talk about the agents are going to be disbanded, they're going to be done away with. They've been saying that for the 10 years that I've been living here. And if anything, now there's probably more agents now than there was 10 years ago. Agents have their uses and always will have. But this is Thailand. We live in a land of where everything is possible with brown envelopes and agents. So yeah, you can. I would suggest you can, with your wife. There's a couple of ways of doing this. You can either have 800,000 baht each and have your own retirement visa, or one person gets the retirement visa, then the second person applies for a dependency visa. So take it, it's like your husband that applies for the visa, the wife can piggyback on that on their dependency visa. But now there's a friend of mine who's an American guy who's just made his whole life complicated, because he's an American guy married to a Burmese girl who wants to live in Thailand. So it's not just one visa, it's a whole hocus pocus of visas. And because I can't figure it out how we can do it. So I talked to an agent, a friend of mine, and they said it's quite complicated. So I've sent him off to the agent, and the agent's going to sort it out for him. So yes, it can be done, But I sort of help and direct and steer normal people with normal problems, not somebody who's married to somebody else from a different country and they're a foreigner themselves. So swings and roundabouts, and that's where agents come in, because they know everything and they can sort everything out. So if in doubt, use an agent. And if anybody wants to know an agent, I'll put my email address on here. So just send me an email, and I'll send you the agents that I would send you to. Leslie Pearson 58 at yahoo.com. Now, I don't get any commission from the agents, anything like that. It's just part of, if I can steer people and direct people to these people, then it all works out. But I'm honest with the agents, and I always tell them, listen, I tell people that they can do all of this lot without using an agent. But some people are still scared of the paperwork and things like that. And they would sooner do an agent, and then an agent does everything for them. Now, everybody's, well, not everybody, there's a lot of people scared to go and see immigration officers. Immigration officers are there to help you. They're not there to wave the big stick and beat you over the head with it and say you can't get this. They will sit down and help you get whatever visa you want. And they can point you in the right direction also. Don't be scared of the immigration department. They are there to help you. That's what they're there for. Okay, I mean, my marriage visa, my marriage visa is due again in July. And for the past 4 years, we've had problems. But are the problems unsolvable? No, they aren't. She just keeps asking for different bits of information that aren't in the package of information that they want. But it takes another day. So it takes 2 days to get the marriage visa, not just one. But we've known that now for 4 years. And we'll have all the paperwork. We'll go down there a week early. We'll give her all the paperwork and say, right, this is all the paperwork. We just have to get the bank statements. Once we've got the bank statements, we'll come back and do everything on that day. And then if she wants any more information, excuse me, there's all little black flies. They're just buzzing around everywhere. So then if she asks for any more information, we just go and get the information. Then the following when we come back, we've got everything. Job done. 2 trips. It's like anything in Thailand. It can be sorted out. Everything can be sorted out. But don't be afraid of the immigration officers, because they're there to help you. You're better off keeping the 800,000 baht in the bank in case you do need to go to hospital. Yeah. But that's where I'd say the 800,000, by doing that, it serves 2 purposes then, really, because you never have to worry about your retirement visa, because you're 800,000 bahts in there. And so that takes care of that. You're in and out in 15, 20 minutes if you've got 800,000 baht in the bank. And it's also good for self-insurance. Now, what I say for those people, if you've got 800,000, and for instance, if you have a medical emergency and you have to go to hospital, and you're allowed to go down to 400,000 baht anyway, without losing your visa. But if you go below the 400,000 baht, then that can cause a problem. But if needs must, needs must. And if you have to spend that amount of money to put yourself right, well, then you can always use an agent the following year and then build that back up. And then the following year, go back again, doing it yourself. There's always a way. If you've got 800,000 baht, I would say happy days, because no need for insurance, and it guarantees sort of your retirement visa also. So 800,000 in the bank is a good way to do it. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, and then, well, that's right. I've got 700,000 bahts worth of cover, I think, but I'll find out better when I talk to the hospital agent. And for me, that's just a sticky plaster to get me back to the UK and get some treatment in the UK, which opens a whole new can of worms about that I'm not entitled to it, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, if possible, a good way to pay for health-related insurance to save your state pension and use it for medical emergencies and live off your work another pay. Yeah, again, I'm 3 years away from getting my state pension. Now, that's a good idea if you already have an income, such as me. I've got my 5 brigade pension. I can live on that amount of money, and I could put my state pension away and use it as a savings plan. Yeah, there's many ways of doing it. But that's what, £800 a month, say £600 a month. Yeah, £10,000 a year. Yeah, it'll still take a lot of years to save up what I'm paying 25,000 baht for the 700,000 bahts worth of cover. And obviously, the older I get, the more it's going to cost to get that equivalent of insurance. So yes, I will be putting a certain amount away for a medical emergency once I get to 66. All of these people that keep saying to me, what if you have a heart attack? What if you have a stroke? What if your kidneys fail? What if your liver fails? And my answer to all of this lot, well, what if it doesn't? You know, you can look at everything bad and you can worry yourself to sick if, what if this happens? But what if it doesn't? What if I live until I'm 95 years old and I just die of old age? And then I've worried all them years for nothing. Don't worry about it until it happens. When it happens, cross the bridge when you come to it. That's my view and my philosophy of I'm fairly fit now, and hopefully I'll be fit until I'm 85, 90 years old. Who knows? Nobody knows. I could walk out on the road tomorrow, fall over, break my hip, break my leg, and be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. You can worry about that, but I don't worry about it. Just take it on the chin. Live each day as it comes. Deal with whatever it is every day. My friend is a Thai solicitor. He opened me a bank account within an hour. Yeah, well, again, a Thai person, certainly a Thai solicitor, will have some connections. Can you travel to another country on a retirement visa? And will Thailand let you back into the country? Yes, they will. And yes, you can. You get there's a multi-entry and there's a single entry. A multi-entry visa means within that year of your visa, you can travel wherever you want and come back from where you want. And a single entry is like when I went back to the UK, I went back to the UK and I come back. And I've got no plans of leaving Thailand again for the rest of the year. So I only needed a single entry visa. But if you plan on traveling, like going to Cambodia, going to Malaysia or Vietnam, things like that, if you're going to travel outside the country more than 3 times in a year, it's worth getting a multi-entry visa. But if you only want to do one trip, just buy the trip. If you want to do 2 trips, buy 2 single trips, works out cheaper. And going on to, this is which I forgot to mention with regard to the multi-entry visa. Somebody asked about the 90 days. Because on your retirement visa, every 90 days, you've got to go down to immigration or inform immigration that you're still living here, blah, blah, blah. If you leave the country, you do not have to complete your 90-day reporting. Your 90-day starts again from the day you get back into Thailand. And that's your 90 days. So don't worry about those people who think, well, I'm on day 66 and I'm going to be away for 2 months, so I'm not going to be in Thailand to do me. Once you leave the country, your passport is stamped and your 90 days is sort of cancelled for it. So you don't have to do any more 90 days until you come back. And then that's your first day of the day that you set foot back into Thailand again. 90 days later, then that's when you do your 90-day reporting. So that's very important, both on a single entry visa and multi-entry visa. Your 90 days starts again once you step foot back into Thailand again. Then you do your 90 days every 90 days after that. So anyway, going back onto another question here. Right, the time frame for applications for an O visa once in Thailand. Right, so if you come across here on a visa, tourist visa, and you want to get an O visa for retirement, so the time frame for that. Now, I've helped a few people out with this, and again, if you use an agent or if you do it yourself, there's a sort of different ways of looking upon it. And if you use an agent, they want between 20 and 28 days on your visa left. So, for instance, if you come here on a 30-day tourist visa, then you get it extended for another 30 days, which you can do. You have to apply for that, your visa in that 30-day section. But if you've only got 20 days on that, then you can't do it. Then you've got to get an extension, or you've got to go out of the country and come back. And it creates a few problems. But if you use an agent wants between 20 and 28 days to do all the paperwork to do your visa. But if an agent does your visa, then you get what's like a 15-month visa, because then it's a 3-month tourist visa. Then it goes on to your O visa. So in effect, by using an agent, you get 15 months, not 12 months. So the agents do have their ways and means of doing it. But if you want to do it yourself, you come here on a tourist visa, you get a bank account opened, and you can either put your 800,000 baht into a bank account, and that has to be in the bank for 2 months. So if you do your 30 days, then you extend for 30 days, then that money's been there over the 2-month period, 2 calendar month periods. And then you can apply for your visa or visa because you've got the funds in the bank. Or if you want to do it the 65,000 baht way, you put 65,000 baht into a bank account on the first 30 days that you get here. And the next month you put another 60. So then that shows 2 monthly payments going into a bank account from abroad. You can't have it going from a Thai bank to a Thai bank. It has to come from an overseas transfer. And then by doing that, that shows you the income method. But if you go down to the immigration office, they will tell you, if that's the route that you want to take, then go down to the immigration office and have a word with them, and they'll be able to tell you the best route for you to go. But you can also apply for the 60-day tourist visa, then extend that so that gives you 90 days. So that gives you 3 months. That gives you a bigger window to play around in. So there are many, many ways to do it. So don't be frightened to, it probably sounds complicated, but in reality, it's not complicated. It's quite easy. So that's the time frame with regard to applying for a retirement visa if you come over to Thailand. Right. David Moby, road traffic concerns and safety. What is recommended, a car or a bike for daily use? I think Thailand is the second most dangerous place in the world for driving accidents and deaths on the road. A lot of that is to do with motorbikes. Now, I'm from the UK, so in Thailand, we drive on the same side as what we did in the UK. Now, to all the Europeans, the Americans, and that, they're already driving on the wrong side of the road. And to be honest, I think this American guy who had the motorcycle accident the other week, it sort of slipped his mind and he was on the wrong side of the road and he hit a truck and he lost 2 toes with a motorcycle accident. And fortunate that, okay, he's lost 2 toes, but he's still alive. And he'd only been in the country for 6 weeks. And the roads over here are very, very dangerous. I would say for long journeys, we go in the car everywhere because you're much safer if you have an accident in a car than you have in a motorbike. For the majority of people who have accidents on motorbikes, they're always going to come worse off because of your skin, and on the open road, you're going to lose every time. But we use a motorbike just to go to the local shop, 7-Eleven, which is 10 or 15 minutes away from here on the motorbike, country roads. We only go slow anyway, but we always wear a helmet. Always wear a helmet. In fact, I think we're the only people in our village that wear a helmet. So everybody knows. I'm like, oh, there they go. Me and my wife, because I won't let my wife drive the motorbike without a helmet. So the disregard to road usage over here, there's the law, and it's the same here. You're supposed to overtake on the right hand side. As you overtake a vehicle, you overtake on the right. In Thailand, left, right, in front, they'll overtake it no matter where they can. So you've got to have your head in the mirrors, and you're like a nodding dog, because you always have to look on the inside of your mirror if you're going to turn left because of a motorcyclist and things like that. And a lot of Thai people don't have a license and never had a license. A lot of Thai people and foreigners over here drink and drive. Now, that's one of my little pet hates, because I went to so many accidents when I was a firefighter for 30 years involving drinking and driving. And over here, it's even worse, because, and now with cannabis, drink and driving and intoxicated with cannabis or substance misuse and things like that, there's an awful lot more accidents, but it's all motorbike related. So yes, I would say have both. Have a little motorbike if you're in a village area for driving around, and have a car for if you're going long distances and things like that. You're much safer in the car. Make sure that you've got adequate insurance, because I think it's a numbers game. Eventually, one day you will have an accident. Motorbike insurance here. This is something that you might not be aware of. Is that every time you hire a motorbike from a motorcycle rental agency, you are not insured. You cannot get in proper insurance for a motorbike. So if you have an accident, you're going to pay. No matter what happens, even if it's not your fault, you're going to end up paying. And for those people who think you can just go into a motorbike shop without a license to get it, yes, you can. You can walk in and get a big 1300cc motorbike without a license if you want to. Why you want to do that? But I've seen people who do it. But you have an accident, you haven't got a license, you're going to be hammered, absolutely hammered, because you haven't got a license. Get an international license if you've got a license for a motorbike here or a car. Don't drive over here without a license. Always wear your helmet and be more aware than you would be in your own country. So yes, driving on Thailand's roads can be very, very dangerous. All right. Frankie Four Fingers. Hi, Frankie. Thanks for pointing many of this in the right direction. Well, I've made mistakes. I'll stick my hand up and say, yeah, I've made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But if you can learn from other people's mistakes and you don't make them mistakes, well, then that's all the better. 4 wheels and a roof is a bare minimum when driving locally. Yeah. Question, Les, are there many expats living in Rayong? Yes, there are hundreds of people living in expats in Rayong. We have a weekly breakfast club, and there's between 8 and 12 of us that go for a breakfast club, brunch club every week. And we have Americans, we have Canadians, we have South Africans, we have English, we have Irish, German. So sort of virtually every nationality. And we have a brunch club once a week. So we go, have something to eat, put the world to right, and then we'll do it again all next week. Now, I'm not a bar person, and neither is my wife. So we rarely go drinking at the bars and things like that. So our social life is with a group of friends. Every month or so, we go around somebody's house and we have a few drinks and a barbecue or something like that. And that's our social entertainment. And we'll do that, or we'll go and have a barbecue on the beach. And because I don't drink and drive, if we go to an event and it's quite a distance from it, up to like 15, 20 kilometers. If there's anywhere like a local resort, then I'll stay the night and I'll have a few beers and I'll stay in the resort. For instance, the other week, a friend of mine, it was his 80th birthday. So we had a function at a place he wanted to have a drink and a party at. And we spent 1,000 baht to stay there the night. Now, 1,000 baht, that was more than what my beer bill was for the night. But I parked the car up, I had some lovely food, lovely entertainment, great conversation with people. I had a few beers because I don't drink much anyway. And knowing, I can go to sleep, get up in the morning and have a good night's sleep, all refreshed. So that's where I would suggest to people who want to go and have a good drink, stay at a resort or something like that. Don't risk driving home whilst you're intoxicated. Now over here, brown envelopes pay for everything, and I've seen people can't walk, pay somebody to take care of them and put them back in the car and drive home. Crazy. But this is Thailand. You've got to take it walks and all, and this is what happens to some people over here in Thailand, is that if you do commit something, and then you can buy your way out of it, sadly. But I've got many, many, many stories, both good and bad, about Thailand. I look at on, for me, I always look at my glasses half full, never half empty. And I take the good with the bad about living here in Thailand. It's not perfect, but it's better than where I was from in the UK. I could never afford this lifestyle in the UK. So I count my lucky stars every day of where I am, what I'm doing. Yeah, right, so you could be the best driver in the world. You can account for the idiot high on drugs driving the other way toward exactly. Absolutely, 100%. But that goes to say no matter where you are in the world. But over here, that statistic is much higher than you think. Is why we don't particularly like driving around on a night time. Is why it's another good idea to stay wherever you're going out for a night. So then you miss all of the people who've been drinking and driving and drugs and fueled people on the roads. It happens. I've got a couple of very, very sad stories with regard to Phalangs being drunk and driving here and killing people. And it has happened, and I've seen it. Yeah, unless you're a very experienced motorcycle rider, wouldn't recommend riding here. Even on the main roads and busy areas, you are risking it because of the standards of driving. It's not. Yeah, I used to drive from Pattaya to Banpay on the road, and it took about an hour and a half. And doing 80 kilometers an hour on a little 125 scooter, that isn't very heavy anyway. I mean, you're literally all over the road, and the trucks and the cars overtake you. I mean, they're doing 90, and it frightened me doing 90 on my little scooter because it was only little. And the potholes, and it only takes a little thing to hit and knock it off balance. And the lorries, they'll move over to the sort of the side of the road to avoid some potholes, and if he hasn't seen you in his rear view mirror, it can wipe you out by just trying to avoid some potholes. So it is very, very dangerous on the roads here. We just use scooters just for local trips and things like that. Usually, like we've been to Phuket, we've been to Krabi, and we'll take the car and we'll hire a scooter in the local area, because the scooter is much easier to park than the car. And we only drive slowly anyway, so we'll drive around with the scooter, and it's much more fun on the scooter with your helmet on, of course, as we always do. Same within Chiang Mai and Pai. We park the car up, hire a scooter, and just drive slowly. Now, I had a big motorcycle accident when I was 17, and the next time I drove a motorbike was in Pattaya when I moved over here in 2012. So from 17-year-old, and then in 2012 when I moved over here. 52-year-old I was when I drove the motorcycle in Pattaya. Probably one of the worst places to start driving a motorbike again. But I'm still alive. Touch wood. I've never had an accident. I've seen plenty, but I only drive slow anyway. So take care when you're on the roads over here in Thailand. Yeah, again, riding a motorcycle is very dangerous over here. Australian Canadians, but with members worldwide. What's that for? The two main groups are BPIA and CABP, Australian Canada, but members worldwide. I don't know what that's about, but anybody got any questions before I go on to the next question onto here? I've sort of rattled on a little bit, haven't I, with different bits and pieces. But just to mention to those people that they maybe have just joined the conversation, whether we've talked about insurances and we've talked about visas and things like that. Now, the insurances, with regard to insurances, there's a couple of people that I'm going to direct you to, different vloggers. Greeny Travels, Thailand versus the West. I felt cheated whilst leaving Thailand for a medical insurance, a medical checkup. He felt that you could get a better medical checkup here in Thailand for 20,000 baht than he did in America. And I've got to agree with him. When you watch the video, there's much more in-depth medical treatment or medical examination he got than he did in America. And Thailand Bound, another guy. Now, this Thailand Bound, his channel is all about telling stories. And I think he's got 48,000 subscribers or something. And he just tells stories about people in Thailand. And he's just moved over here to Thailand now. And he was on about being truthful to your insurance company before you actually sign up. And by being truthful with them, it can actually go against you. And the video to watch for him is Health Insurance in Thailand, Why I Decided Not to Have a Policy. And again, just watch that. And it sort of opens your eyes with regard to what you're doing and what you can't do for life insurance or medical insurance in Thailand. And another feel-good video, and I've just sort of been watching him for the past few weeks, is Life in Thailand. And the video to watch for that one, this is going to work. And it's about the guy, he's in his 40s, so he's just left the UK. He used to run pubs and clubs and things like that, pubs in England. And he's sort of given everything up to come and live here in Thailand. And he's built a big house and he's going to make it off-grid living, so solar panels and things like that. And in a farm, he's going to make it self-sustainable. Actually, take my hat off to this guy. He's a nice guy. Not a lot of money, but he's going to make it work. And I believe that he will make it work. But it's not going to be easy. Again, that's Life in Thailand. This is going to work. Fantastic, fantastic guy. And I take my hat off to him. And for those people who like watching live streams and things like that as well, there's an American guy, I'm going to recommend his channel. And that's Got to Love Thailand with Dave. And he does live streams maybe every he does live streams 2 or 3 times a week. An American guy. He'll talk the hind legs off a donkey. He's a really, really interesting guy. He's built his own house up in Surin. And he's a very, very likable guy, Dave. So that's Got to Love Thailand. And Got to Love is all one word. And then Thailand. And he does the live streams. And he always puts a little thumbnail on there to say when he's going to do it. But he's a very interesting, he's probably one of the nice, I met him, he's one of the first YouTubers that I met in Pattaya when I went down to YouTubers and meeting, and very knowledgeable, just a nice guy. And Thailand is full of nice people. it's also full of not so nice people as well. So you just pick and choose the people that you want to be with. What time are we at now? 4:10. So, okay, let's have a look. Question. Okay, I should be over there in September, and I'm looking forward to catching up with you. I probably need you to find me somewhere to stay for about 3 nights if you can help. Of course I can. Yeah, I mean, I've had 2 guys have come over here from England and went. Well, I found them places. I suggested places because I've been a lot of places, and I know some nice places and reasonable places to stay. So I'll always give people recommendations. And if I don't like the place, then I wouldn't recommend them to stay there anyway. I'm a budget traveller, and everything that I stay in is about 1,000 to 1,500 is a maximum type thing. I pushed the boat out a couple of times and paid 5,000, but I'll never push that boat out again ever. 5,000 was a lot, and it wasn't worth it. But normally between 1,000 and 1,500 baht. And I mean, Dave, I don't know whether he's watching today or not, but he came over here, really nice guy. I met him over there when I went back to England, and we had a coffee together, and we've kept in touch. And he came over here, and we had a couple of nights together, and then off he went. And he travelled. He did a lot of travelling in a short time, and a couple of places I could recommend that he could stay, and he enjoyed it. So yeah, certainly, if you're coming over in this direction, just give us a email closer to the day, and I'll help you out with accommodation or make some suggestions and whatever. But it's a fun place to be. Right. Other question. When you take on a year-long condo lease and you put 2 months deposit up, is the leasing agent that holds the deposit, or is it the owner of the condo? If you go through an agent, it's the leasing agent that'll hold the money. And I mean, when I had 2 condos in Jomtien, I moved from one condo to the next, and I've got to say, I'm sort of a clean person anyway. So when the contract came to an end, I scrubbed and cleaned the condo, and it was like cleaner when I left it than it was when I came into it. But I was still charged 1,000 baht for cleaning fees. And when the cleaner came, I said, "Look at it. You show me one part that needs to be cleaned, and I'll pay the 1,000 baht." And they said, "No, that's it. You still have to pay the 1,000 baht." So the second condo that I was in, same thing, 1,000 baht cleaning fee. But I didn't clean it to the same extent as I did with the first condo. So even though you paid 2 months deposit, you will still get charged a cleaning fee up to 1,000 baht anyway. But what I would suggest is that if you're looking for a condo, you can save yourself a lot of money, or you're in a better negotiating position by finding a condo yourself, because they're going to charge 10 or 20% commission for finding the condos. And all you need to do is just drive around the area that you like, go to the main office, and there's people displaying adverts for their condos all the time there. And you've got negotiating power, because the 20% that they'd pay an agent for finding you can knock that 20% off yourself. So that's what I would suggest, rather than using an agent. And then if you do pay the 2 months, then that will be held by the owner of the property. But it will still be in the documentation in the lease agreement that they have taken your 2 months deposit. So legally wise, once you've signed that bit of paper, the black flies are about again. Once you've signed that bit of paper, you're sort of safe. You'll get your 2 months deposit back, unless you trash the place, then you ain't going to get it back. But that's a good way of saving a lot of money, is by driving around the area that you would like to live and go and ask yourself. This is what we do. We do a day trip. If somebody wants to come and live in this area with us, we'll charge them 1,500 baht a day, and we'll take them all the way around our area where we live, And if they like to look at somewhere, my wife will go in and ask how much it is and if there's any places for rent. And although we've got a number of houses that we take people to as well for rental periods, maybe they don't exactly want to live in this, because we do live in the countryside and it's a bit remote and you've got to have transportation to be able to get anywhere, where you want to go to. So we can take people around to condos and things like that. So we charge 1,500 baht a day to taking people around. We stop for lunch somewhere and we show them all the areas of where we live and where to go to, the best places. It's a good day out, and it's good. So you're not just using a rental agent who will take you to show the properties and then come back, and that's it. So we do that. And that's been quite successful, and we've helped quite a few people out to find somewhere nice to live. But yeah, that's a good advice, to go around yourself rather than using an agent. Let's have a look. Right, question, Les. When you take on, oh yeah, so we've just done that with a condo. Hello, Les. What motorbike would you recommend for a run around in Thailand? Now, the motorbike that I've got is coming up to 9 years old, and it's a Honda Click 125, absolutely bomb-proof, fixable everywhere you go. And I had, before that, I had a Honda Click before that, and I sold that, and I bought a PCX, and I loved the PCX because it was a PCX 150, and but I sold the PCX within a year, because as much as the PCX was a beautiful bike, it was a tubeless tire. So if you get a puncture, then it can't be fixed by every motorbike shop, because you need a gadget to fix the tire and things like that. And then not many people wanted to put a tube in the tubeless tire. And also, if for every reason, it's like the new PCXs have like keyless start, so you don't have to put your key in, but you can actually forget to turn it. So when you park it up and you turn it off, the battery can wear down because you actually haven't turned it off. So if your battery wears down, you've got no kickstart to kickstart the PCX. Whereas in a little Honda 125, you've got a kickstart. So even if the battery isn't on, you can kickstart it, and it's enough to get you away and drive away. Because the Honda 125s are all tube tires, so if you get a puncture in the front tire of your Honda Click, it's 120 baht for a new inner tube and for them to fix it. 120 baht. If you get a puncture on your rear wheel, it takes a little bit longer to fix it, so it's 150 baht. So it's so cheap to get a puncture repaired. And even a brand new tire isn't expensive over here. For an oil change, it's 140 baht. And I get the oil changed every 2,000 kilometers or every year, whichever comes first. And I think mine now is 9 years old. I've only got 12,000 kilometers on it. And it just goes forever. Hondas can be fixed absolutely everywhere. They're bomb-proof. So I would say Honda Click 125. You'll have no problems with it whatsoever. So cheap to maintain, insure, and everything else. Brilliant. Right, let's have a look. Paul asks, hi Les, great stream. I'm enjoying a coffee from the mug you gave me here in the UK. I'll say hi to Ply from M&H. Thank you very much. I had my coffee in there today, but it's all empty now. So now I'm on the water. Good, your wife goes to first guarantee as soon as she sees for land, the price will go up. Yeah, dual pricing. I haven't seen much of that, but it does happen. It does happen, but I've not experienced a lot of it. We were in a restaurant once on Koh Samet, and I noticed there's a Thai restaurant and there was a foreigner restaurant menu, and I was looking, and on the Thai, and it looked the same, was 10 baht cheaper. If you ordered on the Thai meter, everything was 10 baht cheaper. And I asked the wife, I said, looking at that one, it looks the same menu, but it's in Thai, but the prices are different. She said, yeah, everything's 10 baht cheaper. I said, okay, let's go. She said, what for? I said, because they're charging me 10 baht more for having an English menu than the. So I said, no, that's dual price. And I said, I'll go and eat somewhere else. So we just up and left and off we went. But it does happen. It's one of them little niggles that you've got. It's like if you go into the national parks, you pay 4 times more than what a Thai person would pay. But even so, 4 times more, 40 baht a pound, so you're paying £4 when they're only paying £1. Some of the national parks are worth every single penny of the 4 times more than what you pay. Swings and roundabouts. I save money. I don't have to pay council tax. I don't have to pay the TV license. I don't have to pay exorbitant water rates. I don't have to pay exorbitant electricity rates or gas rates and things like that. My housing costs are much, much cheaper than they are in the UK. So paying 4 times more to enter a beautiful park, is it really? Just look at it as another little tax that you have to pay. And it's not an exorbitant amount of money that you have to pay. The principle of it, I can understand, that we shouldn't have to pay 4 times more. But it just goes over your head now. If you want to go in, go in. And I've got to say, I've never been disappointed with the money that I've paid to get into a national park because they are beautiful. So, there's many little niggly things that you've got to get your head around living in Thailand. They wouldn't do this in England and they wouldn't do this in America, but they do it here in Thailand and you've just got to get used to it. So, as my wife used to say in my early days, well, in England we do that, in England we do that. Les, you don't live in England anymore, you live in Thailand. So, okay, message understood. Do as the Thais do. Honda cars are bomb-proof also. Yeah, but you pay a big premium for a Honda. Honda is sort of the benchmark car that everybody likes. Honda, Toyota, and we've got a Nissan, which is way, way down. I don't think it's quite as bottom of the list, but it's somewhere near the bottom of the list. But as far as value for money is concerned, my Nissan, I've got no complaints whatsoever. This is my second Nissan. The first one that I bought was the second-hand one. Now, I had that for 5 years and I loved it. And this one here now, we've had for 3.5 years and I've loved it. And it's never, ever let me down. It goes forever. Very economical. Big seats for people in the back. And big boot. Just love it. And at the time, when we bought this car, the wife liked the Honda Jazz. So we looked at the Honda Jazz, and it was 80,000 baht more than my Nissan. And the Part X deal that we got from the garage, on the Nissan, they give us 225,000 in part exchange. And in the Honda garage, they were only going to give me 150. So the car was already 80,000 baht more expensive than the Nissan, and they were going to give me 75,000 baht less. So all I get is 140, 150,000 baht more for a car. And I just said to Ploy, he said, no, I said, the Nissan wins for everything. The car gets us from A to B, and I love it. And as I said, it's 3.5 years old now, and it's a beautiful car. It's never let us down. Beautiful. But the Thai cars are well looked after. If you get it maintained and looked after, it'll look after you. Modern day cars are just lovely. If you buy cars with all the electronic gadgets, there's more things to go wrong with it. So I would just turn around and say, buy a normal car and keep it for as long as you want. Second-hand value cars, or second-hand cars here, you nearly pay as much as a brand new car for a second-hand car. And the thing is, with a second-hand car over here, You don't know how it's been looked after, whether it's been in a serious accident and it's got the front end of one car and the back end of another car, because that's what they do over here, and that's legal for them to do it over here. So, and trucks, I would never buy a second-hand truck. Just look at how badly they treat trucks over here in Thailand. So that's cars and motorbikes and trucks. But Honda, yeah, top of the list. Question is, what airport do I need to fly into so I can catch up with you? Well, yeah, our closest airport here is Udapau. That's about an hour and 20 minutes away from where we live, Udapau. But it's not easy airport to get to Udapau. So Bangkok is only 2.5 hours away. So Bangkok airport, then either catch a bus or a minivan. Well, I would suggest keep away from the minivans. The minivans are dangerous over here as well. The minivan drivers are ex-Formula One wannabe drivers, and they're crazy. There's more accidents with the minivans over here. More people have died in the minivan accidents here because of bad drivers. And the minivan drivers are bad drivers. Stay well away from minivans. Come on the blue bus, and it's fantastic. It's slow, but it gets you there and it's safe. So yeah, Rayong, you can get it from Bangkok. It gets 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours by bus to Rayong. So yeah, if you're coming up my way, give me an email. Just send me an email, and we'll sort of have a meet up. I'm going for coffee tomorrow with somebody tomorrow, and every week I'm almost meeting people every week now, which is good. I'm a people person. I just love talking to other people. It's brilliant. Let's have a look. $4,000 baht more equals 80 baht. It costs 200 baht for any parks. All right, yeah. Yeah, 200 baht. 40 baht, 40, 80, 160. Yeah, okay. Some places, the highest that I was charged or asked to pay was 500 baht in a national park. My wife had to pay 40 baht, and I had to pay 500, and we didn't go into that one. That was in my early days. I just, no, stuff it, I'm not going to pay that. I'm not going to go in. So I didn't go in. And we went into when Ploy had a son down here for a week. We went all over the place, and we went to an upside down house in Satterhip. And I've been in upside down houses in England when I had my kids and we took the kids to bed. So I've seen up down houses. And then there it was 40 baht for a Thai person, 200 baht for me. And I just said to the wife, I'll go and sit in the car. You go and take long in there, go and have a look at it. I'll sit in the car. I wasn't going to pay 200 baht for something I've already seen in the first place anyway. So yeah, it's up to us. The biggest argument we had over that is on Koh Samet. We went to Koh Samet for the day, and if you go to Koh Samet for the day, because it's a national park, a foreigner has to pay 200 baht and a Thai person has to pay 40 baht. Now, we only went for the day because we met some friends over there, and then we decided to stay the night. So because we only lived 30 minutes away from Koh Samet, we came back over on the boat, grabbed some clothes, put them in our rucksack, and went back across. And we showed our tickets, and the army guy said, no, you can't. I said, yeah, they're valid for 5 days. No. He said, you left the island and you come back, so your ticket's invalid. So I'm arguing with this army guy through my wife. He's saying, listen, no, we live here. We went to get some clothes. We're staying here the night. So because we live here, we went to get some clothes. No, you left the island. You have to pay again. And I said, well, what if I was here for a holiday and I wanted to go to Rayong, go shopping? You have to pay again? Yes, you have to pay again. But it says on the ticket, valid for 5 days. No. If you leave, you come back. Now, the reason for doing this, because he explained, and I understand the reason, but once he explained the reason, I could understand his theory of it. And in fact, he's right. Because if somebody just goes for the weekend, you get some people who will say, well, there's three days left on this ticket, and giving it to somebody when they get off the boat so they come across. And that's what they wanted to stop. Not that happened very often, I know, but that's what the reason for doing that. And he said, in the future, if you do that again, talk with one of the army guys and tell him you're going to leave, and he'll write something on your ticket so you can come back, and it avoids all of that trouble. But we still ended up having to pay 100 baht. 100 baht, okay, you're going. But that was better than having to pay 200 baht, wasn't it? Half the price for something that we'd already bought in the first place. So, yeah, that's the other one. Okay, another question. All right. Thanks, Les. I will definitely email you, Bright. Yeah. Send me an email, and if we can sort something out, I can sort something out. Question, Les. How do you move money from the UK to Thailand? A lot of people talk about Wise for moving money. Yeah, Wise. I've used Wise now for many years, maybe 10 years that I've been over here. And Wise is very good. In fact, a guy emailed me from England the other day, and he said, because he was in Barclays, he said, why don't you do it straight from Barclays, straight to your Thai bank account? He said, for £1,200, he said it costs £12.75. I said, well, for £1,200 with Wise, it's £7.30, I think it is. So £7.30 using Wise compared to £12.75 using Barclays, which is my bank. So Wise is much, much cheaper for sending money than using your bank or Western Union, things like that. I've looked into many ways of sending money over here, and Wise have become the cheapest. And if you use one of my systems that I got, the recycle method, you can use D-Money to send the money back to England or America or Australia, because Wise don't do that, but D-Money does. So anyway, the recycle method is another workaround for living here on a visa, but that's a whole different video. Yeah, so that's how I move money around, by using Wise, which is probably the cheapest. No problem. I've got another question. All right. So house prices, whether to buy land and build a house. That's the $1 million question, isn't it? People buying land and building a house over here, it's a beautiful country, and I understand why many people want to live here. You can buy land and build a house much cheaper, much cheaper, in a bigger plot of land and a bigger house than you could ever afford in your home country. But it will never belong to you, because we're not allowed to have property over here in Thailand. Well, we're allowed to have property, but we're not allowed to own the land that it's on. So therefore, there's ways and means that you can do. So many foreigners, the big horror story is that people have bought property, and actually once the house is built, the Thai person says, okay, see you later, bye-bye now, this house is mine. And so many people have lost so many millions of baht by doing this. And it's not researching things, thinking that you've got to take precautions over here. There's so many horror stories, so why wouldn't you take precautions over here? Because when all said and done, when you're in your 60s, your recovery time to refund whatever you've lost over here is gone. Now, when I got divorced at 42, I still had another good 8 years to recover any money that I lost or to build up a little pension or a little bit of money saved up and things like that. So I could do it. But when you're 60, you can't work over here. So do you want to go back to your home country? And what's the chance of you going to get a job at 60, 65-year-old if you've lost everything? So take care of it in the first. You go ask a lawyer as to what your rights are and what you can do and what you can't do. There's many things you can do over here to protect yourself, and I would say look at every option. Now you can buy a property, and if you just want to buy in your own name and not your Thai girlfriend's name, you can put it in any Thai person's name and get a 30-year lease. So that person can't borrow money on the property, can't sell it, can't do anything with it. And after 30 years, you can do whatever you want to do with it. You can sell it on. So there are many ways of doing it without costing a fortune to be able to look after yourself or to take care of what money you put into it. But if you don't trust the girl that you're with in the first place, don't do it. That's my advice. Right, what time is it now? So we've been going on for an hour and a half. So any more questions? Right, here we go. Oh yeah, that's the same question I've just been asked about moving money for transfer wise. Yeah, question wise. Should be over there in September. Okay, so any other questions? Anybody want to know? We've got down 49 people are watching and 22 likes. Thank you very much for the 22 likes, and the 49 people are still watching here. Can you buy a house by yourself, without a Thai girlfriend? Yes, you can. You can. It's a little bit more complicated, but yes, you can. And you hear people saying put it in a company name. Well, company name, you're sort of circumventing the system to avoid foreigners from wanting things. But you can put it into another Thai person's name, and then you get it, like what I've just explained about putting it in a 30-year lease. So nobody can do anything. And then after 30 years, you can do whatever you want. Well, you can do whatever you want with it during that 30-year lease as well. So yes, there are ways and means of doing it. But the rental for over here is so cheap anyway. Like this house where I'm living now, when we rented it, it was 12,000 baht a month. So what could you get in the UK for 12,000 baht a month? Absolutely nowhere near what, the niceness of this house where we are now. So the cost of living here in Thailand, the rental price is so cheap. The electricity, we've just got our electricity bill for this month, and it was 625 baht, about 15 pounds per month. And we don't use much air conditioning. We've used a little bit more for the past month because it's been incredibly hot, and thankfully now that season's sort of gone. We've sort of coming into the rainy season now, which has cooled everything down. But it is possible to live here with very little air conditioning. So we have fans on the night time as opposed to the air conditioning. So our electricity bills, never ever above 1,000 baht per month. How many people live in the UK or America would wish that their electricity bills is no more than 20-25 pounds a month? Crazy, isn't it? The insurance for your car is so cheap. The crime rate over here is next to zero in comparison to, England and the UK. But I used to deal with people with crime in the fire brigade, and they say that to me is, I know an awful lot about the crime in the UK because I dealt with it a lot with my job within the fire brigade, because I used to put people that used to steal cars on one of my courses. So I've dealt with hundreds of people that committed crime in the UK. A whole new different story that is. But it's not a good story. Can you buy a house? Yeah, I've gone through that. How much would you need each year to live on comfortably in Thailand? Okay, yeah, it's less complicated to rent a house than, and at least that gives you the chance to move around and that. Shifting the retirement. Yeah, hi Les, just to say that the channel retired this year to the Philippines from Australia and hoping to travel to Thailand in the near future. Darlow boys rule. Darlington. Comfortably living. I've done a few videos on living on. I live on about £1,200 to £1,300 per month living here, and that includes we're buying the house, and I pay all the bills, all the food, and I give my wife a salary every month, so she's independent of her own money. So that's included for everything, £1,200 to £1,300 a month. If we go on holidays, that's a little bit extra. But as far as money to live here is concerned, we eat out 2 or 3 times a week. Food-wise, traveling, £1,200 or £1,300 a month, no problems. If you want to live a really good lifestyle, if you had £2,000 a month living here, you'd live a fantastic lifestyle over here on £2,000 a month. But I also know people who are living here on £800 a month, and they're having a good life. And obviously, they're old age pensioners on £800 a month. Oh, gassy that water. But as an old age pensioner, would you sooner live in England during the winter months, or would you like to live in the countryside like this? This guy pays 6,000 baht a month for a studio overlooking the beach in Melonpon in Rayong. So £800 a month. He has entertainment. He's a bit of a drinker. He likes to drink every day. And he has adult entertainment, let's say, once a week. He's happy with that. And he has a good lifestyle, £800 a month he can live on. There's an American guy that I know. He lives on $1,200 a month, and I've helped about $1,300 a month, and I've helped him find a 2-bedroomed bungalow on a resort with a swimming pool. He's got the motorbike. He's got a girlfriend now. Life is sweet. Life is good, and he's happy with that. And he can live very comfortably here because we worked the figures. We've done the figures out. He's got his visa sorted out now, so $1,300 a month. He's happy as Larry over here, and he can be. Bad Brad, $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much. Absolutely very appreciated. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for that. So going on to that, like the channel here to the Philippines. I've never been to the Philippines, but I've done a story about the Philippines where if you're in Thailand and you've got your old age pension, you can go to the Philippines for 185 days and get your pension increase. But that's a whole different story, pensions wise. Because if you live in Thailand and you're on your old age pension, it'll be frozen. When you start claiming your old age pension, you won't get the yearly increments because you're living in Thailand. But if anybody wants to know anything about that, again, I've done a couple of videos with regard to that, about your pension being frozen and how there are ways in which you can get them increments paid to you. And it involves moving around a bit, but they're actually paying you to have a holiday with your own money. But that's a whole different story from here. I did make 2 videos on that. But they're interesting to watch it anyway. Okay, can I come over with my Thai wife on a marriage visa? We have been married in the UK for 4 years. Do we have to get married again in Thailand to get a marriage visa? No, you don't. If you've been married in the UK and you've got all the proper documentation and things like that, Then you've got to, when you come to Thailand, you've got to get it notified with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So you've got to get it translated into Thai straight away when you get over here. Then you've got to go and get it stamped at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And then if you're on a marriage visa, and then you can get the marriage visa because then you've got all your documentation. But then every year when you go to get your new marriage visa, you've got to go get what's called a Coro 2, which is you go to the government offices and they have a look on the computer and say, yes, these two people are still married. You've got to do that every year, even though you've still got your marriage certificates and things like that. You've got to get everything legalized over here and translated into Thai. But no, you don't have to get married again over here because you've got the marriage certificate. It just needs ratification over here. And once it's done into Thai, then the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will stamp it, and then you're all good to go. Because I sort of did the opposite, because we got married over here in Thailand, and I got all the certification, and I had to have it ratified in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, translated into English. So when I curled my toes up, my wife has got all the documentation to say that it's been done legally, and I'm married, and I'm entitled to the pension when I curl my toes up. That's the other thing that a lot of people forget about as well, is we're all going to die one day. So take care of what matters before you curl your toes up for like money, wills, properties, cars, things like that. Because once you've curled your toes up, who's you going to ask? So we've got, some people might look upon it as being a bit morbid, but I don't think it's morbid. I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen to us all. Nobody's going to walk away from that one and just live forever. Is that we've filled all the documentation out, paperwork, and my wife, I've actually gone through all the paperwork with my wife. So my wife, I've talked to her so she understands it, and she writes it in the Thai language, so she understands it as well. And I'll just give you one case example, one example, and this is the one of the biggest things to take note from, because my wife is 27 years younger than me. So when I die, my wife is getting a pension for life. So she's going to claim that pension for a lot of years. And I've said to my wife that if one day the pension stops, don't think, oh, Leslie was going to go on forever, because a Thai person will not pursue it if they don't know what I'm about to say, because they'll just say, oh, it's just stopped. I know they're going to phone up and say, why is Les Pearson's pension stopped? He's told me you're going to get it for life. Unless they know, they'll just take, oh, he said it's going to be, oh, it's just stopped. Because one day they'll want to check that she hasn't got married or that she's still alive. So then we've got the list of telephone numbers that if that money does stop, she makes the phone call and says, listen, you know, I'm still alive and I'm still not married, and the position is exactly what, and it'll just carry on paying. But if the Thai person doesn't know that, and this goes to all people with private pensions, make sure that they know that when that pension stops, if your pension agreement is that it's going to pay for the rest of your life, is that it is going to pay for the rest of their lives. That's why you need to put your ducks in a row before you curl your toes up, because once you're gone, she can't say, oh, Les, what about this? Ask the questions, ask the horrible questions before you die. Make sure everything's put in order. That's a bit of really, really good advice. Can you, all right, so let's have a look. With my Thai, we've done that one. Can your 90-day reporting be done anywhere in Thailand, or you plan on your different regions? You have to register an address in that region, 90-day report that. No, you can do it anywhere in Thailand, but you can do it online now. So if you do it online, then that gets rid of all of the going into the local Thai immigration. But if you go to the Thailand immigration, if I'm correct in thinking, you've got to go and get a letter from your hotel or where you're staying from. And that's your TM30 to show where you're living. And it's still not a problem. You can still go to your immigration department, but you'd have to get a letter, or if you're staying with friends, a TM30 filled out to say this is where you're staying for that period of time. But if you do it online, you can do it anywhere in Thailand, and just ding ding ding. 1 or 2 days later, you'll get a confirmation note. But do it a week before it's due, so you've got plenty of time to go to the local immigration office if you need to do. But yeah, 90 days isn't a problem no matter where you are in Thailand. Do you get all the smoke in the burning months? This year we did, yes. I've got to say, this year it's been the worst that I've ever seen it, with the smoke. I don't know why, atmospheric conditions or whatever, but normally it's a 15-minute speedboat. So this just to show you the distance as to how far Koh Samet is from where we live. 15 minutes speedboat. So distance-wise, you can see it, the island. But the smoke for this year, you couldn't see the island. So that's how much pollution was in the air. This year, I felt it on my chest, and the smoke and things like that. And the pollution in the air this year, it's been the worst I've ever seen it. But normally, it hardly gets down this area. Even in Phuket this year, the burning season, the smoke affected the air quality in Phuket, and that's way down south. So hopefully it was an anomaly, and next year and for the rest of the years it won't happen. Are they going to stop burning season? Yes, they'd like to stop burning season, but it's all to do with the farmers. It's cheaper to burn the old sugar cane than to dig it up. So as long as it becomes cheaper, they're going to burn it. So it's never ever going to go away. But I've talked to people in Chiang Mai, and the air pollution in Chiang Mai during the burning season is horrendous. It's very bad. And that's got to be one of the reasons why I didn't live in Chiang Mai, because of that 3-month burning season. I've never been to Chiang Mai through the burning season, but the people that I know that live there, they actually leave and go elsewhere because it's that bad. Sad to say. Brad, yeah, Les, thanks for the great information. Thanks for the super chat. Thank you very much. Thanks for the info, entertainment. Do you have a spare room? We have 2 bedrooms here, yes. Bill Simpson, hi there, Les. How hanging, mate? Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. Ian Chapman, Les, someone living on, say, $1,000 per month, how much money do they need in the bank to keep the visa? Right. Now, the visa part of it, how can I say this politically correct? I was told off by somebody with regard to YouTubers shouldn't be giving out this information because they know nothing. And it was from a professional person, a lawyer, in fact. But I've never met a trustworthy lawyer yet. But anyway, he sort of criticised some of the things I'd say. One, I do not give legal advice. The advice or information or the workarounds that I give are 100% legal. And in fact, they're more legal than using an agent. For an agent, is it legal or is it illegal using an agent? Who knows? But there are more agents now than there was 10 years ago. So the information that I give, everybody has to draw their own conclusion. And there's a workaround. We live in a country of workarounds in Thailand. There's a workaround for everything. If you fall out of your car absolutely drunk, there's a workaround. You can be helped back into your car and helped on your way back home. Do I need to say any more? We live in a country of workarounds. So there's always a workaround to anything that goes in Thailand. And if you've only got theoretically $1,000 a month, that falls below the 65,000 baht that you need every month. But there are ways and means of showing your 65,000 baht every month. Agents thrive on this because if you haven't got 65,000 baht a month, they will wave their magic wand and sort your visa out for you. So yes, it can be done using an agent, but also I have other ways that you can work around the system where you can still live on $1,000 a month and it's 100% legal. It's a play on words, but it's no more illegal than using an agent. I'll say no more with regard to that. But yes, there are workarounds where you do not have to have 800,000 baht in the bank. In fact, I know people who have got the 800,000 baht in the bank but refuse to put it in there because in Thailand, insurance-wise, you're only insured for the first million baht. If you have a million baht in the bank and the bank goes bust, you're only insured for a million baht. And in my mind, if you've got 800,000 baht in the bank, you're very close to that million baht anyway. So, okay, your 800,000 is always going to be safe, as is your money. But anything over a million, you're going to lose anyway. So, and also with the fluctuation in the exchange rate going up and down, you can win and you can lose. So there's both different ways. Oh, hang on, what's that? Wow. Bill Humphreys, £5 donation, super chat. Thank you very much, Bill. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. Thank you. So yeah, money wise, you can. I call it bending the rules, but everybody bends the rules over here. It's a country of bending the rules. If you live socially by the rules here, in my mind, this is my own. I've always been poor. I've never been a wealthy guy. I've always made do with everything. I grew up in a poor background, so I am for the average working guy. You've got to work. You can't live here on nothing. You do need something. But there is, for every person that lives over here, whether you're on $1,000 a month or whether you're on $50,000 a month, there's a price point for everybody here. For instance, $1,000 a month, you're going to help support the street food people, the people who serve on the beaches, your chicken on the stick, your noodles, your 45 baht noodles or something like that. Now, the people on $50,000 a month are never ever going to eat the food on the streets, and never ever going to eat the 45 baht noodles. They're going to go in the high-soul restaurants and going to live the high-soul life. So there is room for me. This is my personal thinking. There's a room for every income level in Thailand, because if you look at it this way, the person that's selling, let's say, durian or pineapple on the beach, and whether you're on $50,000 a month or whether you're on $1,000 a month, if you pay the lady the 20 baht for the pineapple, she doesn't care whether you're on 50,000 baht or whether you're on 50,000 baht a month or 1,000 baht a month. 20 baht to her is 20 baht. She doesn't care where it comes from. And Thai people don't have that social ladder like we do have in the UK and America. So there is a point that every level of income coming here can survive, if you know what I mean. That's what I'm sort of talking about. It's just, I help people that are on the lower side. The people that are on 50,000 don't need my help, and they probably don't even watch my channel. The majority of people that I help are on the $1,000 to $2,000 a month. And if I can help people smooth the floor to be able to live a successful life and live a life here, that's fantastic. Anyway, that's blowing my own trumpet, but thank you very much. Montana's Thailand, $5. Thank you very much. Much. Oh, thank you everybody for the donations. That'll buy me a few coffees anyway, won't it? Thank you very much. All right, let's have a look. Hi Les, are there any reputable health insurers and how much is the cover? Thank you. Okay, let me come back to that one. 90 days on online port is handy, but I've heard it can be very temperamental. Yeah, it can be temperamental, but if you get the right link to it, it works every time. I've gone through various links and it's never worked. Then somebody else has given me a link and I've used it, and I use that link all the time now. But yes, it can be temperamental. Lacey, you mentioned that you offer a one-to-one consultation covering all topics covered in this live stream. It's so cheap, it would cost a small sum. I chatted with Les for over an hour. Yeah. No, I haven't mentioned that. I mentioned that we do you can spend the day with us for 1,500 baht if you're looking for properties and things like that. And we'll take you around the area and we'll show you around the area and we'll show you properties that you want to look at. And if you see anything that you like, we'll stop and my wife will go in and ask. And so we're very, very helpful. And having somebody to drive you around the area who knows the area is fantastic, because then you already see what's available and what isn't. But with regard to visas and the workarounds, and remember, I don't do anything illegal. Everything that I do here is legal, but I can't actually say what I do on the live stream and things, and I can't actually publicly say, "Oh, this is what you do." But it's like everything that's simple. It's the simple things that work. And when I've told the people of how to do it, I used to be a children's magician. If I can explain it this way, I used to be a children's magician. I had my own children's entertainment business, and I learned to be a magician. And somebody taught me how to be a magician. And first of all, they showed me the tricks, and it's like, wow, how do they do that? Show me again. And I'm thinking, how do they do that? And then when he showed me the trick, it's just like, why can't I see that? Why didn't I see that before? And once the bubbles burst and you know how to do it, it's simple. And all my workarounds are like popping that balloon, simple, once you know how it's done. And it's not illegal. It's not illegal, no. And I know many people who have done it. Now, I offer this service for $10 for an hour. And you can have a one-to-one chat with me on WhatsApp or Skype or whatever, whichever way, or on the telephone. And you don't pay until you get the information. If you get the information that you want, you give me the $10, and that's via a coffee link type of thing. But if you don't get the information, then you don't pay the $10. Why would I charge somebody $10 for something that is not useful to them? But my workarounds for pensions and having the amount of money and showing the things, which is, I've got to say, more legal than using an agent. But I'm not against agents, because agents have their ways as well. So there's ways and means of doing everything. But I offer that service for $10 an hour. And again, the guy who so generously said he learned a lot through just talking to me for an hour. And thank you very much, Paulas, for doing that little plug for me and reminding me that I haven't said that yet. Thank you very much. Anyway, I'm going to put my email on there. So if anybody wants this service or whatever, just send me an email and we'll do a one-to-one. And I guarantee that the $10 will be the best $10 that you've ever spent as far as thinking about moving over here. 58 at Leslie Pearson 58 at yahoo.com. Again, now I can offer this service to anybody. And having a one-to-one chat, I don't give any bullshit. I don't give any misinformation, but it's a simple way of doing it. And I've got to say, it's not illegal. And you'll see how simple the system is when you sit and talk to me, and it's just like, why didn't I think of that? Anyway, thank you very much, Ian Chapman, for the $5. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Okay, let's have a look. It's like holding a branch, but you can bend it until it doesn't break. Exactly, yes. But the street vendors are not there just for tourists. They serve local people on low income. Yes, they do. My wife is out selling sausages today, not because she has to, because she wants to, and because she enjoys it, because that gives her talking with Thai person. Like I'm talking English or the American people, so we talk our crap, and the Thai talk their crap, and she does it, but she doesn't have to do it because she lives a good lifestyle with me, so therefore she doesn't need the money, but she does it just for the sense of talking to other people. Now, the people that she's working with down there have to do it. This is their only income. And this morning it was thunder and lightning and raining, and so there's going to be nobody on the beach. So today it's going to be a very, very poor day for them. But now it's cleared up the weather-wise, so she's gone down there to sell stuff on the beach. But yeah, the street vendors serve everybody. But for a foreigner to come along and buy the street food off them, that also helps provide money for their living standards. My point being that some guy who's on 50,000 baht, 50,000 baht, $50,000 a month, should say, or whatever, super rich or whatever, is never going to buy anything from the street food. I'm very, very rarely going to buy anything from the street food. Where somebody on $1,000 a month is going to buy something from the street food because that's all the money he's going to got. So that's what I'm saying. The $1,000 a month guy isn't going to support the wealthy restaurants, 5-star restaurants, because he's never going to go in there because he hasn't got the money. So horses for courses. The people on the high income are going to support that level of group. The people on the low income are going to support that level of the group. And that's how the system works, and everything in between, if you get my drift. Okay. What's the average interest rate your 800,000 baht would get? Nothing. There are people, I think, I don't have 800,000 in the bank. I use the income method every month. One, I haven't got the 800,000 baht to put in, and two, I'm on a marriage visa, so I only need to put 400,000 baht in the bank. But because I get a monthly pension, I don't have to have any money in the bank as long as I can show over 40,000 baht a month coming into my account, which I do because we live on 12 to 1,300 pounds, which comes up to about 55, maybe 60,000 baht a month. So we're covered with regard to that. But I've heard also you can put your 800,000 baht into an interest account, but you don't get a very good interest on that account. But also, you can do it in another account where it's held in euros or US dollars or English pounds. But for instance, let's say you've got £19,000. I'll use £19,000. If that covers the 800,000, but the exchange rate goes down, and your 19,000 only gives you 799,000, then you're below the 800,000. So you've got to keep more if you've got an account, you put it in US dollars or euros or pounds, that it covers more than the 800,000. You've got to allow for exchange rate fluctuations. So there are some accounts that people that I know have got the 800 that makes absolutely no interest whatsoever. So that's why they don't like leaving the 800,000. And there's a few people who've taken the 800,000, done my system, and then the 800,000 bahts put in their own bank in their home countries. But for those people that are old and don't have medical insurance, I would say keep the 800,000 because it does two jobs. One, it gives you your retirement visa, and two, it gives you enough money for a medical emergency. So the swings and roundabouts in using the 800,000 And for those people who can't afford the medical insurance because of their age, 800,000 for me is a lifeline for medical treatment or something like that. Because you can always get another retirement visa using an agent if you need to. But if you don't have the 800,000 and you're in hospital and you've got no money to pay, then you're in a bad situation. It's using whatever you have at the end of the day. It's like people who have the Thai government are going to bring in a system where you can self-insure. So if you have a 3 million baht house, you can use your house as a security for medical treatment. How that is going to work, or if it's working, or if it's been set up yet, I don't really know. But that's what the talk is, because people of 80-year-old upwards find it very, very difficult to get. In fact, I don't know an 80-year-old guy in the group of people that I know that has medical insurance. They're all self-insured because it's prohibitively expensive to get insurance at that age. So swings and roundabouts, it's using the best way with the best money and the best way that you can get around the system. Legally, of course, all legally. Let's have a look. Do you have to have medical insurance? You said no for a retirement visa. Now there's two there's the OA visa, and then there's the O visa. The OA visa is the visa that your retirement visa that you can apply for outside of Thailand. So you can apply for that and come to Thailand. Now with that, you need $100,000 worth of medical insurance and $40,000 worth of outpatient insurance for the duration of your stay. So if you've got a retirement visa for a year, then you've got to have $100,000 worth of insurance for the year, which can work out very, very, very expensive. But if you get an O visa within Thailand, then you don't need any medical insurance. I know it's a bit of an anomaly. One insurance, I mean, the OA visas, purely and utterly because of the medical insurance coverage, that's getting less and less people taking the OA visa. They'll come to Thailand. There's ways and means of getting an O visa. Also not guaranteed, but there's still ways of getting your O visa legally in Thailand and doing that. You don't need any medical insurance. But I would strongly suggest that you should have medical insurance when you come over here to Thailand, because who knows what's going to happen. And look into it. If you haven't got the funds to pay for a medical treatment or an accident or something like that, take out insurance, at least insurance for an accident. You're more likely to have an accident in Thailand than you are to have a heart attack or a stroke or something like that. At least cover some options. Another way of sort of doing this is like, for those people who've missed it, have a look at Greeny Thailand Travels. Thailand versus the West. I felt cheated. Was leaving Thailand for a medical. Was this a mistake? 20,000 baht. This Greeny Travels, and have a look at that with regard to this guy had a full medical in Thailand for 20,000 baht. Now that'll find anything that's wrong with you, because there's a CT scan, they do all the bloods, the cancer checks, they do all sorts of things for 20,000. So if you haven't got the money to pay for insurance, at least get one of these tests. Then that'll tell you if you've got heart conditions, lung conditions, or things like that. You might not be happy with the results, but at least then you know. And the other one, Thailand Bound. Health insurance in Thailand. Why I decided not to have a policy. Have a look at his video. He did everything correctly. He came over here to Thailand. He went and had a 5,000 baht checkup, but because he had that 5,000 baht checkup and he answered the form correctly, because he couldn't give a yes or no answer, and the fact that he went for this treatment, they found nothing wrong with him apart from being a little bit overweight, and his triglyceride was a little bit over. They used that against him and upped his premium and said, "Oh, you're not covered this, or you're not covered that." But watch his video. It's very interesting, the fact that because he went for the test, it actually went against him, and that's why he decided not to have an insurance policy, and he's going along the route as being self-insured. So swings and roundabouts. It's looking at all the options and taking the best option that actually suits you. Sorry about the noise in the background. There's some guy cutting the grass with a strimmer. Should I go and have a word with it? No. All right. Hi Les, I hope you are well. Is there much happening in the renting scene? Because I remember it had got busy. Yep, it's got very busy. In fact, I did a couple of videos of rental houses, and one of them was a 4-bedroom, and within an hour of that video going out, it was rented within 1 hour. And the second one that I did was two houses rented by the same guy. One had a pool and the other one didn't. That was rented the following day. So yeah, as soon as basically the houses go up on the channel, they're almost rented. The 2-bedroom, the one that I'm shocked at that hasn't gone yet, it's the 2-bedroom house that's just been built, so nobody's ever lived in it, and that's still up for rent, and that's £15,000. A most beautiful house, and I'm shocked that hasn't gone already. But you know, I think we've had almost 1,800 views on that house. But yeah, the property rentals have probably calmed down a little bit now because it's the rainy season, holiday season's finished. But I've still got people coming over to look at houses and properties, certainly over the next 2 or 3 months. So if they like it, they like it. If they don't like it, well, it's something that they've looked at. Yeah, it's a lot. Sean Lane, yep, got to drift. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Much appreciated. Hi Les, Newcastle upon Tyne. Oh, Newcastle, I love Newcastle. Did you see my last video when I was on my way back to Thailand? It was in Newcastle. Now, I lived in Redcar, and for a taxi from Redcar to Newcastle was £65, so I could catch the plane to come back to Thailand. But because I'm always looking on the computer, and I think there's got to be a cheaper way of getting to Newcastle Airport. So I got a Travelodge hotel near the quayside for £29. I got a discounted rail ticket from Redcar to Newcastle for £5.71. The metro ticket was £3.50. So I think long short of it, £45. I had a night out in Newcastle by the quayside, drinking £1.79 Worthington beer before I came back to Thailand. But because I was ill, although I did my video and I had a pint of Worthies, I couldn't drink it all. And now I could just drink that. Beautiful. But yeah, in Newcastle, I've had so many good times in Newcastle. I like Newcastle. Right. Martin Bonner, get charged a yearly fee by my bank to be able to have a debit card you can make payments with. Brad, click the thumbs up, help others see. Okay, yeah, those people, we've got 55 and I've got 37 likes, so everybody give a thumbs up. That'll drive the algorithm wild in YouTube. Thanks very much, Bad Brad, for suggesting that. Yeah, I mean, the analog, the analytics that work with Thailand, with the YouTube, it's just, the more clicks you get, the more engagement you get, the better it is. Oh, it's gone up by a couple there now, 39. Thank you very much. Yeah, bank accounts. I get charged a yearly fee for my bank card in Thailand. Now, every time I use an ATM, I have to pay. And so now I've got an app that I do everything on the app. So I only draw out my spending money using my ATM card once. So then I only get charged, I think it's 20 or 30 baht you get charged for using an ATM. And the rest of it, I pay everything else online. So by paying everything online, you don't pay any fees. But I pay a yearly banking fee, which I think also gives me 5,000 bahts worth of accident insurance. I don't know. I've had that open now for many, many years. So I'll need to check under that to see whether I do actually get insurance with that. But it's not a lot of money. I don't know. But the banking system in Thailand, you have to pay to put money into your account. And we saved our ones and twos bahts for a number of years. And long story, we had about 9,000 baht worth of 1 baht, 5 bahts, and 10 bahts, 2 bahts. So we took it at the bank, and they charged us 150 baht. And they never even counted all the money, never put it to a coin machine. They just look at it. This is correct, 100 baht in each bag. Yeah, 100 baht in each bag. And they charged, I think, 150 or 170 baht because it was just coins. So normally it's 30 baht when you put money into a bank account. But then if you put a large amount of money into a bank account, they charge you more money. So the banking system isn't totally free. And if you using your bank card from England or Europe or Australia or America, they charge you 220 baht per withdrawal over here. And that's a lot of money. That's like almost £5 to draw some money out using your card at an ATM here. So that soon adds up them charges. So I heard you could take money out of your Thai bank without any fees if you go inside in person. Is that true? I think it is, yes. I think it is. If you go up to the counter, then you can withdraw money. But also, if it's like my original bank account was opened up, and I used the Bangkok bank, so my bank account was opened up in Pattaya in the Bangkok bank. But because I use the ATM here, I get charged 30 baht. But if you use the Bangkok bank in your local bank area, it's free. So I went into the Bangkok bank here in Rayong. I said, I want to move the Bangkok bank over to here, so I don't get paid. I don't get charged 30 baht for you. And they said, well, you've got to go to Pattaya where you opened up the account. You've got to close that account, and then you come in and you open the account here. And I'm just thinking, it's not worth it, because what if I close that bank and I come in and they said, no, you can't open it, and I can't open a new account until I close the old account. So I'm just saying, for 30 baht, I'm not going to worry about it. So I just leave it as it is, and I only draw out my money once a month, so it's 30 baht, so I can live with that. And it's not worth going all the way down to Pattaya, closing that bank for the sake of 30 baht a month. If you know where I'm coming from. I live frugally. If you don't have to pay money, you don't have to pay money. If you can, get around it. I'll thank you for the extra thumbs up. We're down up to 44 now. Thanks very much for all those people for giving me a thumbs up. Right, let's have a look. Highlights, just having a Leo in the Lord Nelson. So nice. Down in Fowler Beach, Rayong. Yeah, I've been down to Fowler Beach. I had probably one of the worst coffees that I've ever had in Thailand on Fowler Beach. And my wife likes honey and lemon drinks. I left me coffee. She left her honey and lemon. Probably one of the worst beach restaurants we've ever been to. And that was Fowler Beach. So that's my memory of Fowler Beach. But enjoy Fowler Beach anyway. Lord Nelson, I don't think I've ever been to the Lord Nelson. So I can't comment. A lot easier to do everything on the app, although have to have face recognition for anything transfers of 50k baht or above. Went to the bank the other day for them to do it. Yeah, it's changed. But it's only for the good, isn't it? And I can't say anything wrong in that. If they want to put extra security, when all said and done, they're looking after your money. If your money disappeared, then you'd be the first to complain. So as far as putting your thumbprint or doing a photograph, let them do anything they want. I've got nothing to hide. I'll do everything that they want to do. I comply with everything living in Thailand. If they ask me to jump through some more hoops for everything, then I jump through some more hoops. And the people who complain about jumping through the hoops here in Thailand actually probably don't realize how difficult it is. The immigration in the UK is so difficult. If you wanted to take your Thai girlfriend back to England, there's an awful lot more hoops to jump through for them to come and see you in the UK than it is for you to come and live in Thailand. Thailand is probably one of the easiest places as far as income requirements concerned, ease of getting a retirement visa, the stability of the country, the crime, the people. There's so many, in my mind, many good reasons why people live here in Thailand, and the negatives are very, very few. So just taking on the chin with the paperwork. Paperwork is in every country, and nobody likes paperwork, and nobody likes the immigration. So it's just one of them. You've just got to get used to it. George Brown, thanks for sharing your knowledge with everyone, Les. It's a pleasure. I hope people get value from doing this. Yeah, it's a pleasure. As I say, nobody showed me how to do all. I've learned all of these monkey see, monkey do. And if somebody shows me something, and some of the workarounds that I've done, nobody showed me. It's my workaround, and it's my way of looking at things. Because I was in the fire brigade for 30 years, and in the last 10 years, I was an officer in charge of an appliance, and then I ended my days being the officer in charge of my watch. Is that the responsibility of finding a solution comes with me. And all my other jobs that I did, your certain problems come along and you've got to find a solution for it. And there's a solution for every problem, but you've got to find it. And with over here in Thailand, the problem is the visa. How do you get to the money? How do you show this? Blah, blah, blah. And I've thought out the box on how you can do this. And is it legal? And yes, it is. Can you show that it's legal? Yes, I can. Is it going to cause any problems? And no, it isn't. But it's just thinking out of that box, and it's being able to solve a problem to a satisfactory standard that it works and it's not illegal and you won't get into trouble for doing it. But I've done that living here in Thailand. There's so many problems come along about living in Thailand compared to living in England. The heat, the roads, the paperwork, there's so many things, but they're not all insurmountable. They're all solvable, and it's always just having a different way of thinking. The Thai face thing, the Thai culture is a different thing compared to how we look at things in England compared to how the Thais look upon. Like for instance, just give you one, birthdays. I spent so many times trying to make my girlfriends in the past, birthday. We'll drive up to Karat, 6.5 hours away, to go and spend the birthday with the family. So my girlfriend at the time, we drove all the way to Karat, 6 hours, just so she could spend the day with the family for a birthday. And I was so disappointed because it was as if nothing happened. No birthday cards, no cakes, no special occasions, no balloons, no nothing. This is my early days of living in Thailand. I'm thinking, well, what did I do all that lot for? Because the Thais just don't do birthdays. They just don't do it. Some of them do, but some of them don't. And, they just don't celebrate. They don't look at things like that, the way we do. And second example is quite funny, but the moral of the story is when she told me this, it is like, I understand that. My wife's farm up in Karat, we go there quite often, and we were there for like 3 or 4 weeks, and all the windows are all dusty and that. So I thought, I got the cloth out and I was cleaning the windows, and then Mum and Dad just looked over and just laughed, and I cleaned all the windows in the house. And I said to Play when she came back over, I said, "What are Mum and Dad laughing for?" She said, "Why are you cleaning the windows?" I said, "Well, because they were dirty." Yeah, but in a week's time it'll be dirty again. Yeah, but I said, when was the last time you cleaned the windows? She said 8 years ago when they got put in. Yeah. She said, the view of that, she said, you've spent an hour cleaning the windows. Now they could have spent an hour on the farm doing something that makes money. But you spending an hour cleaning the windows isn't going to make anything at all. Isn't going to do anything apart from make your windows clean. We can cook food, we can prepare rice, we can do this. And she listed half a dozen different things that hour that could be more productive than cleaning the windows. And it's just like, okay, but I like clean windows. But when you're working on a farm, every hour counts. They're up at 5 o'clock in the morning and they're in bed by 9 o'clock every evening. And in that time, they never stop. There's always something to do on a farm. So it's just our perception of where we look at things. And sometimes the Thai views and our views are totally, at loggerheads. You just got to, okay, forget about it, move on. I'm having a Leo. I've had a Leo, but it's a Leo water. And both of them are gone now, but I might have a beer later on tonight. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, a lot easier to do everything with the app. I've read that before. Thanks for sharing. Open the bank account first. I have 2 Bangkok bank accounts. Now, earlier on in the live stream, with regard to opening a bank account, that's become more and more difficult now. Before, you used to be able to open a bank account on a tourist visa, but now you can't do that. You can't do that now because it is because of the Ruskies. The Ruskies coming here in their droves have caused a lot of problems. I'm not saying it's their fault, but if you read between the lines, it's since what's happened with the situation that a lot of Ruskies have come here and putting their money into the Thai system. And the Thailand don't want to see any money laundering and things like that. Not that I'm saying that that's going on, but if you look at what's going on over here in Thailand, they're making opening a bank account more difficult. They're scrutinizing people's visas for everybody that wants to live here. And how are the Russian people staying here for the amount of time that they're staying here for? Because if this war goes on for another year, they're going to be staying here for a long time. And if you're under 50 and you're not on a retirement visa, that's either an elite visa where you can bring your family. And we talked about that earlier on, that there's ways and means of being able to do that. And now the Thai government are looking at narrowing down that you can't bring all of your family here on the elite visa. So there's wheels and motions happening all of the time. And that has a knock-on effect that can affect everybody else as well living in Thailand. So things are getting a little bit tougher here, but not too tough that it's not worth coming over here. I still think Thailand is a wonderful place, and I'll always sing its praises. And for the average working guy, if you can get over here, come over here. Retire as soon as you can, because you never know how much time you have, and live a good life before you pop your clogs and curl your toes up. So opening the bank accounts is much more difficult now, but you can get an agent to do it. An agent can open up a bank account for you on any visa, and they charge anywhere from 3,500 up to 5,000 baht to open up a bank account. Now, a lot of people will turn around, well, I'm not going to pay that. But after you've walked around 10 branches in different districts, I think, to try and open a bank account, and everybody says no, sometimes it's worth paying that little bit of extra money and saying, okay, do it for me. And then 24 hours later, you've got a bank account that's opened. In times at the cost, if you're living here for donkey's years, it's a very, very small fraction. Sometimes you've got to oil the wheels that make life living here a little bit more simplified. And sometimes brown envelopes work wonders over here. All right. I found it so easy to get a retirement visa. See an agent, pay him the money equals peace of mind. Yeah, agents are wonderful things, but I tell many people that you can do it yourself, without paying an agent. But some people still sooner prefer to pay an agent than do all the work themselves. A retirement visa is easy if you do the criteria. Then it's dead easy. It's not difficult at all. But I understand the people who use agents also. I mean, agents can wave their magic wand and any problems, and the problems are fixed. So agents have the places. There's lots of talk about agents are going to bite the bullet because of all what's going on. They're going to crack down on everything. Agents have been here for 10 years. They'll be here for another 20 years. I can't see agencies finishing here at any time. They might make it a little bit more difficult, but everything can be done. Peace of mind, yeah. The world is short of money, deposits and investment. Banks go belly down because lack of deposits, and Thailand says no. I don't quite understand. Thailand says no. No, Thailand wants everybody to put the money in here. If you go to the immigration department and you say, right, I want a retirement visa, the first thing they'll say to you is that you need to put 800,000. They don't tell you, but you can put 65,000 baht in a month. The first thing they'll tell you, you need to put 800,000 baht. And if you don't know there's the income method, then that's what people go with. Oh, I need to put 800,000 baht in the bank, but you don't. You can. Before they used to have a joint. What's the word? I'm lost for words now. Whereas before, you need to show 800,000. So if you had 400,000 baht in, and then you had a monthly income, as long as it equates to over 800,000 baht a year, combination method, that was it. They were happy with that. But now the combination method, they don't accept it anymore. So it's either 800,000 or 65,000 baht a month. And if you pay that 65,000 baht a month into your Thai bank account and it comes from abroad and international transfer, they're happy with that. But also, some immigration departments want to see, not all, only some, want to see that it's from a pension source, because their view of pension source is a safe bet that you're going to get your money for the rest of your life because it's from a pension source. Tell that to the American Airlines company that everybody lost the pensions, and the people from Debenhams from the UK, where Greenwood stole all of their pensions. So private pensions from a pension source such as American Airlines and things like that, is it safe? No, it isn't. So that's what I'm saying. There is workarounds with having to show your money comes from a pension source. But some Thai immigrations are just happy to see that you've got 65, no matter where it's coming from, it comes in as a foreign transfer, 65,000 happy. Some immigration departments want to see it's from a pension source. But there are methods to satisfy the immigration for both at the end of the day. I will use an agent. Can live with it. 5,000 baht for an agent. That's very cheap for an agent. Oh yeah, to open up a bank account. Yeah, yeah. You can get it for about 3,500 baht. I've seen that's the cheapest I've seen it for 3.5. But because it's made it more difficult now, the prices might have gone up to 5,000 baht with everybody. But yeah, 100 quid. But out of that 5,000 baht, it's actually only 4,500 because they have to leave 500 baht in the account. They also might ask you to open up a accident insurance. Just do whatever it takes to open your bank account, because once you've got your bank account open, that just opens so many other doors with regard to getting your money paid in, sorting your visa out. It's a small price to pay. Don't argue over it. Do whatever the least fuss to get what you need. And if it means paying a little bit of money, well, it helps the wheels go around. Change the subject, Les. Right. How's the house going? What are your monthly payments compared to the rent you were paying? Monthly payments are a little bit more than what I was paying for rental, but not much more. I won't won't say exactly how much I pay, but it's actually not much more than I was paying for rental. The landlady's over the moon. We've never missed a payment. We've always paid. And I mean, what's good now, we've almost paid £500,000 baht off it, off the price of the house. We've been here a year and a half. So, and one day it'll never be my house, but it'll be my wife's house. So when I curl my toes up, she gets the house. And so we painted all the fence. We've done that. That was an extra, that cost us 3,000, well, 5,000 baht altogether. So that's one extra expense. I put insulation in the loft. So anything that I do is for my own comfort as well, as far as living here is concerned. I mean, painting the fence, I did that panel there, which is because of all the bushes there. And I did that, and I was boiling hot, and for a day. And as I say, the front sort of gets the sun most of the day. And I said to Plies, I can't do this. I can't work in it. And I had my hat on, that was all buttoned up and long sleeves on. And I got a price of the Thai guy. Originally, he said 1,700 to strip all the paint off. And we've got 10 panels altogether. Strip all the paint off and repaint everything. I said, when can you start? 1,700 baht. And after 2 days, he realised that he priced it wrong. So we thought about 3,000 to 4,000. But it came up with 2,700. We said, yeah, no problem. There's the 2,700. And we had a grinder and we bought the wire brush. So it just made his life a lot simpler. Sadly, on the last day that he was here, he didn't do a good job on the gate. And so there was a little bit. I'm 85% happy with what he'd done. But for me, he spoiled the 10 days he'd worked here by skipping or hiding what he was doing on the gate. He painted over paint that was peeling off in the fence. He didn't do a good job. But for the rest of the fences, I'm happy. So we cut our own grass now. Before we used to have a gardener, which was included in the rent, but I bought a trimmer, bought hedge trimmers and things like that. So we used to pay 500. Well, we were asked to pay 500 baht for the garden. I said, no, I'm not going to pay a month. I said, I'll do all the gardening work. So we do all the gardening work ourselves. But that gives me something to do also. So it's relatively cheap still over here. I'm just paying a little bit more money than what I was to rent the house in the first place. And one day the house will be ours. But let's have a look. Agents are good if you don't meet the requirements. They can circumvent them. Know someone who gets the money put into his account on the day and ordering you the visa. And yeah. The quickest I've seen that done is 30 minutes. Been in his account for 30 minutes. But also my suggestive ways where you don't need to put money in the account. And you can do everything legally without having to put money in the account. And in some ways, it's a much more less risky than even using an agent. And there's ways and means of doing that. And for an example, I'll give you a little teaser, a little bit of something to think about. With an agent, your money is in the bank account for 30 minutes or a day. Well, not even a day, 30 minutes or an hour or so, and the 800,000 is taken out, and bang, you've got your visa. It's all done in a day. Fantastic. What was mentioned a couple of so years ago is that the immigration was going to stamp down on this, and the immigration can still ask to see your bank book anytime when you do your 90 days. So if you go in to do your 90 days, they can put a little note in your book when you've done your 90-day visa, say the next time you come here on your 90 days, we want to see your bank book. So for instance, on your first, when you get your visa, the 800,000 baht has to be in your bank account for the first 3 months. So when you do your 90 days, if they ask you to say, I want to see your 800,000 bahts in the bank, and you know far well it was in your bank for 30 minutes and now 90 days later it isn't there. So now you've got to go and see the agent, and the agent waves his magic wand and it's all sorted for a fee. So then you carry on paying the agent to do your 90 days. So in other words, he gets a little bit more money out of you because it stops any problems with you being face to face with the immigration. They say, we want to see your book. No problem with that. Plenty of agents do it. Plenty of guys get their visas and never even set foot into immigration until the next year when the whole system starts again. The system that I offer is that you never ever have to be afraid to show the immigration your bank book, ever, because it shows money is going into your bank account every month on the income method. So you will never ever be embarrassed or in the situation where, oh, I have to go and see an agent, I have to go and see an agent. So there are ways and means of doing that. And it doesn't cost you a penny because you can do it yourself. And the fee every year is only 1,900 baht for your visa. So you don't have to pay any agents. And that's a totally legal way of doing it. But it's just thinking out the box. And it's like I said earlier on, the magic trick. Once you see how it's done, it's so simple. But it is simple to do. And no agents are required. But agents charge 45 to 55,000 baht for retirement visa unless you have the 800,000 baht in the Thai account for 6 months. Now 55,000, I've never ever seen it that high. The highest I've ever seen it of some of the people that I know is 48,000, and the cheapest I've seen it is 27,000. So that's from saying there's a massive difference in agency fees from 27,000, and that, if I'm correct, that even includes opening up with a bank account fee, and the bank account is 3,500 to 4,000 baht. So from 27,000 up to 48, that's off the sort of 3 agents that I know. But 55,000, I've never seen it that high. But you know, as things are getting much more tough these days, and the immigration people are clamping down on things, the prices will go up for sure. But that 55,000 might be for your first one. After you've done your first one, it does get cheaper after that, and that's usually between 15 and 20,000 baht a year for the renewals. So you'll only pay that high price once when you initially get it. Accident and make insurance sends potholes, trips, falls, uneven pavements. Yeah. Accident insurance. Again, I looked into accident insurance, and accident insurance, it gets more tougher as you're getting older. Once you get past 65, it's even more difficult to get accident insurance because slips, trips, and falls. You know, older people. But yeah, look at all your options. You better to have some insurance than nothing at all. You're more likely to have an accident here with falling over, slipping over. I mean, look at the pavements in Pattaya. Look at the pavements everywhere that you walk around, even the local villages and the shops and things like that. There's potholes, there's bricks missing. You know, the lawyers have a field day in England. You know, where there's a blame, there's a claim. How many people have claimed in England because the pavement's been an inch and somebody's fell over it? You know, there's none of that over here. If you fall over, you're stupid. You shouldn't have fell over it. You can't claim against anybody. And you never, ever will be able to do that. That will never, ever happen in Thailand. It's if you fall over, you should have watched where you're going. So, yeah, I agree with you. You can have a slip, trips, or fall anywhere in Thailand. I'd get accident insurance as a minimum, you know, if you can't afford the health insurance. Qualifying period using the monthly method of 65K, as I heard you need to show a year's income payment to your bank. If it's your first application for a retirement visa, you only need to put it in for 2 months, 65,000. Then that shows that you're on the income method. If it's on your second visa application, then you have to show 12 months. So if you haven't got, there's many ways to skin a cat, but this is a way that you could use an agent to get your money in the first place. And then what I would do, if you use an agent for the first year, then it's going to be obviously in the bank book that 800,000 was in your account for 30 minutes and it was out the same day. Open up another account, put 65,000 baht a month this is for your second application, 65,000 baht a month for the 12 months. Then you can show that's your income method. But if it's your first visa application, you only have to put 65,000 in for 2 months. Then that gets you the that gives the immigration the information that they know. As long as the 65,000 comes from a foreign transfer, that's the other stipulation, into a Bangkok bank, and it shows a foreign transfer, then that shows that's the income method, and you can do it that way with your 65,000 baht every month. Oh, my voice is going again now. I think I'm going to, on the last time it was 3.5 hours that I did it, and I lost my voice the following day. So now we need almost 3 hours now on this one. Wow. So much information to give, and so many people ask. I get emails every day. I spend at least an hour, 2 hours, certainly an hour every morning answering emails and comments and things like that. Yeah, so the qualifying period is 2 months for 65,000 baht a month on your first. And then if it's your second, the reason why I would say open up another bank account and put your 65,000 baht every month in is because if the immigration want to be, your visa last year, where's the 800,000 gone? It causes problems. If they don't see that because you've opened up another bank account, that gets rid of that problem, doesn't it? It's all to do with showing, but with my method, with putting 65,000, you'll never, ever have to worry about that because that's the income method. That's how much money goes into your bank every month. And you can prove that. You can show that. You've got nothing to hide. So you can do it without using an agent, and it's not difficult. Okay, let's have a look. You still have to pay the 1,900. No. If your visa on your 65,000 baht a month, your visa, which lasts for a year, is 1,900, and that's for the year. You don't pay nothing for your 90-day reporting. You don't pay anything for your 90-day reporting. That's free. Whether you go in person to the immigration office or whether you do it online, it's totally and utterly free. Unless you're with an agent. And if you're with an agent, you get an agent to do it. The cheapest I've seen is usually 500 baht per 90-day reporting. And they say that, okay, if we do this for you, then you'll never feel the embarrassment of them saying, I want to have a look at your book. And then you'd have to pay the agent to get you out of that mess in the first place, because now they want to see your book. Swings and roundabouts. But once you're in with an agent, you sort of fix with an agent, if you know what I mean. And it's not difficult to get out of having to use an agent, but there's ways and means of doing it. But you've got to be careful when you're doing it that you don't cause any red flags. I'll take the no agent way every pound a prisoner. Well, but there's many people who are scared of the paperwork and they don't want to go into. Immigration officers are your friend. They're not the enemies. They're there to help you. And as I said, everything that I say, everything that I recommend is legal and 100% above board. I never do anything dodgy. I bend the rules a little bit, as everybody bends the rules a little bit here. But I don't break the rules. Somebody said earlier on about bending a branch. You bend the branch, but you don't break it. Same within Thailand. Every rule here can be bent, and it is bent. But I don't break it. Yes, so is it. I use an agent once. I've got to say, I use an agent once because I was on a retirement visa, and I get my yearly statement from the fire brigade to say how much I've earned for a year, and I was still a little bit green, didn't know the rules, didn't know everything, and I had 3 days before my visa was renewal. And your renewal can be done 2 weeks before, but not a day after. Otherwise, you're on overstay and it causes problems. So 3 days before my visa ran out. I went to a visa agent and said, listen, this is what my situation is. My letter hasn't come, and these are the days when the embassy stamped it to say, yes, you're on that amount of money. So I said, what do we do? He said, we'll sort it out for you, Les. And it cost me 28,000 baht at the time. This is going back eight years or so ago now. 28,000. He said, we'll sort it out for you, Les. Don't worry about it. He said, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, the day after, but the day before my visa was due, my income statement come. And I rang this agent up and I said, listen, I said, I've got my letter now. So I said, I don't need your services. He said, we've already put things in motion now. He said, you've got to pay. He said, we'll do it. 28,000. And it's just like sugar. Anyway, long story short, got my visa, went down to see him. And I said, was there any other way of doing it? He said, yeah, you could have used last year's visa. He said, because once you're on a pension, he said, that pension's never going to go away. He said, you're always going to. So he said, you could have used last year's pension. I said, why didn't you tell me that? He said, well, I wouldn't have got 28,000. And he was honest. He said, then I wouldn't have got 28,000 baht, would I? So there's always a way. It's funny how some stories stick in your mind, isn't it? All right. For your 90-day reporting, the fee is only for the yearly visa. 90 days is free. Yep, that's correct. No, it's free online, and it's also free if you go to the office. You don't have to pay anything for your 90 days. Yeah, 500 baht if you get an agent to do it for you. The immigration people will sit down with you and help you fill in the forms. As long as you meet the requirements, there is no problem normally. Yeah, exactly. And I would say there's a lot of people actually meet the criteria, but they'll use an agent because they're scared of the paperwork. They're scared the immigration is going to say, no, you can't have it. And if they say, no, you can't have it, then you walk to the visa agent. And then the visa agent will wave the magic wand and probably deal with the person that you were dealing with and who says, no, you can't. But they'll get it for you. Visa agents have their place. I'm not against visa agents because visa agents have helped thousands and thousands of people stay here. And, whether it bends the rules or not, it works. And many people have stayed here, thankfully, for the visa agent. So they play their part as well. And when all's said and done, what harm is it doing? Because if you look at it this way, if they're stuck to the rules, let's take the guy that's on $1,000 a month. He doesn't meet the criteria. So $1,000 a month is probably the three Thai salaries. So in effect, if the agent didn't help him here, Thailand wouldn't get another $1,000 a month. And that's just looking at the cheap way of it. So is the guy going to be worth $1,000 a month? So Thailand will turn a blind eye and help somebody smooth the wheels of transition, if you like, and help this guy spend his $1,000 a month here. Is anything wrong with that? Not in my mind, there isn't, because he's helping the economy and, somebody's turned a blind eye. How many blind eyes are turned in the whole of the world, in every country? There's no country that isn't, I'm not going to use the word corrupt. There isn't a country in the world that doesn't help smooth the transition of various things through without the brown envelopes. Not a single country in the world. I've never found that one anyway. Okay, let's have a look. Anybody else got a question? Anybody else want to ask a question? We've still got 49 people in the house. Anybody else got a question that they'd like to know? Because now we're coming up to 6 o'clock. That's 3 hours. It's all gone quiet. Everybody must be asleep. So I'm going to plug 3 other people's channels here for those people who haven't watched it. Is with regard to the insurances and Thailand bound, health insurance in Thailand, why I decided not to have a policy. Watch that. It's very, very good. And that explains the reason why he didn't take out a health insurance policy in Thailand. It's very, very good. Well worth a watch. And Greeny Travels, Thailand versus the West. That's his Greeny's Travels in Thailand. Thailand versus the West. And I felt cheated. Was leaving Thailand for a medical mistake. And that's on about a guy that has a 20,000 baht full medical here. CT scan, heart scan, do all the bloods, tests and things like that in a patio hospital. Well worth watching, because 20,000 baht to get all of them tests done is cheaper. And it gives you, if you can't afford the insurance, it gives you an indication as to if there's anything wrong with it to look out for. And another one, Life in Thailand. This is going to work. And it's another English guy who's sort of given up everything in England. I think he's in his late 40s. He's given up everything in England to come and make a life here in Thailand. He was in the pub industry, entertainment in pub industry, the restaurant industry, pub industry, and he's sort of given up everything to come and work over here. And in that video, this is going to work. For me, it's right up my street, because what he says is that the average person in the UK can do what he's doing and live a better life. Sometimes you've got to take a risk. It's a fantastic video. He's done a lot of good videos about building his house in Thailand, why he's doing what he's a nice guy. I take my hat off to him and, watch his video. And got to love Thailand. If you like streaming or talking to people, live streams and things like that. American guy, lives up in Surin, and he does live streams at least 2 or 3 times. He always puts a thumbnail up, and he's like a big American guy with a beard with a cape on. Got to love Thailand. A nice guy, talks for hours. He's always got something to say as well. So that's 3 plugs to 3 different channels. But hang on, so somebody else has put some more stuff on here. Thanks for today, Les. I picked up a few more tips and ideas. I hope to be in Thailand September 24. Not long now. Yeah, that'll soon pass. Just a little over a year. That last year will just fly by like that. Really, really will. Martin Bonner, thanks, Les, for the information as ever. Thanks very much for watching. 51-year-old married to a Thai wife in England. What do you think would be best long-term visa? Retirement visa, long-term visa. A 51-year-old, you qualify for that, so that's no problem. Your retirement visa is so easy to get. Your marriage visa, because you're married to a Thai girl, you can get that as well. The difference between the retirement visa is that you've got to have 800,000 baht in the bank, and the marriage visa you only need 400,000. So it's either 806 or 65,000 a month, or 440,000 baht a month. So, but the marriage visa takes a lot more work and a lot more paperwork to get, but it's possible, and it's not that difficult to do. It's just, we've been doing it for 4 years, and she always asks for more paperwork. So it takes us 2 trips to go, but now we've got it down to 2. The first time was 6, and I think the second time was 5 trips, but now we've got it down to 2 trips, and we're happy at that. Pardon me. I've 800,000 bank over there. Yeah, that's the easiest way of having 800,000 baht. It solves a lot of problems. But there's a lot of people, 1, don't have it, and 2, they don't want to commit that amount of money over here in Thailand. And have a house built over there ready to go. Yeah, but building a house over here can cause so many problems.